HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
So here's my understanding, Mark Dykton, and you tell me if this is correct, because I'm only half caught up on my sleep from the red eye. I took a nap yesterday for a little bit. I woke up under this weird haze that Russell Westbrook was rumored to be coming to the Pacers. That caught me off guard, and then I had a nightmare that the stream wasn't working again.
Those sound like very real dreams.
Yeah, does that qualify as a nightmare?
If you had those dreams, I had the same.
Both of them do to me, Kevin.
Those might be nightmares.
You were saying how you kind of prepped yourself when you guys were descending, and you look nice. You're rocking your El Coyote hat, and unfortunately, what do we usually average? Like 23,000 streamers a day on YouTube,
at least.
Yeah, somewhere right
on
around
a bad
there.
day. On a bad day.
Yeah. On a bad day.
They're seeing me on a more rough day today, but you look like you showered. No hat for you today.
I Tuesdays and Thursdays teach the class, so yeah, I have showered. It was one of those mornings, Jake, where like
Tuesdays and Thursdays are your only shower days when you have class.
Well noted, right?
I should probably throw in the caveat of before the show starts. It's one of those mornings where I'm like, oh wow, I'm like running behind, and you don't realize it till literally I got off the elevator. I was like, oh wow, it's 6:55.
Yeah, no,
sorry
it's
about
happened
that.
a lot. It is weird. The first like 20, I don't know how it is for you guys, but when I wake up, like some mornings, I'm good, and the clock just goes at my pace, and then other mornings I wake up and I turn around and I'm like, whoa, like where did that 20 minutes ago? Because it takes me about 20 minutes to.
Well, I also was checking. The Colts made a free agent signing per ESPN's Adam Schefter about 10 or 15 minutes ago. And this is breaking news, Jake.
Do we have a breaking news sounder?
Do we have? Yeah.
I mean, we have it. It's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
I don't know if it's horrifying.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I think that aspect of the breaking news sounder probably qualifies for the player the Colts just signed in terms of his notoriety. Chris Ballard continues to only sign, I don't even know if he qualifies as a defensive back, Brandon King, which we used to have a Brendan King.
That's right.
Who is now doing play-by-play for the South Bend Cubs. This is Brandon King, signed, a former Patriot. Always draw some headlines. Jake, he's played in the NFL since 2015. You want to guess how many defensive snaps he's played in his entire career?
7.
2.
Okay. They like his upside.
Nothing like the old 29-year-old that we like his upside, Jake.
Add some depth.
Those 2 defensive snaps, I'm sure, were riveting. It is, and I guess I'm being a little in jest certainly here. It's really hard to play defense in the NFL and do it since 2015, and for you to only have played 2 defensive snaps. Like, usually there's just injuries that happen in one game where all of a sudden it's like, hey, all we got left is Brandon King, and he's got to go in there and play, 20 snaps in a game. So, let's go! Primarily a special teamer throughout his entire career.
I didn't realize until yesterday, and I was a little disappointed because whenever this happens, I like to try to get on board and get invested. I didn't realize the USFL is coming back.
Is that with, what's his name?
You're going to have to help me out there.
Talking about The Rock?
Yeah.
That's the XFL.
No, that's the
Okay.
XFL, right?
Yeah.
So the USFL...
I feel like the USFL is right up your alley.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll bet J&B likes it too. So your brief history here. The
Brandon
USFL...
King would be the number 1 pick in the USFL.
What's that?
You
Yes.
think Brandon King would be the number 1 pick in the USFL?
I can tell you who the number 1 pick was, actually.
Oh.
They just had a draft. So the USFL was a league that came in 1983, 83, 84, and 85. And I remember my dad saying to me, like, hey, this is going to be fun. We're going to have football year-round. So in the off NFL season, the United States Football League came about. And listen, I know that I'm telling you guys both stuff that you probably primarily know. but it was designed to originally be an immediate countering to the NFL competing league. And they went out and they signed. I mean, Herschel Walker was the big signing.
One,
right. And I mean, for them to sign Herschel Walker at that time was the equivalent of, I mean, I don't know it was a different era to an extent, but he was a 3-time All-American and Heisman Trophy winner in his last year at Georgia. He was
Tebow?
Tebow would probably be a good example. And then Doug Flutie and Reggie White and Jim Kelly and, Anthony Carter from Michigan. I mean, they had big-time players, and they threw around big-time money. And Donald Trump was the owner of the New Jersey Generals. He's the one that was he got Herschel Walker. That's why his connection to Herschel Walker to this day. And eventually, the USFL's design was they were going to get big and then sue the NFL in an antitrust lawsuit, claiming, I think it was over television contracts, I can't remember. But the other owners were leery of filing the lawsuit because it was starting to get some decent footing on its own without having to rely on the business model of we're going to come out and then we're going to attack the NFL. But it was Donald Trump who was very active in, no, we've got to push forward this. And eventually he kind of stood on his own because the other owners backed away from it. And that's where, in the antitrust lawsuit, they were awarded like $3 and kind of humiliated, and it folded. The USFL went away.
What was the product like?
It was good. That's an excellent question, Kevin. So I thought it was good. I mean, I was a kid, so you're probably a little jaded. But they played in, like the Tampa Bay Bandits played in the Sombrero. The Birmingham Stallions played at Legion Field. The Washington Federals played, I think, like an RFK. So they played in legitimate stadiums, and they probably got 25 to 30,000. So it was better than like the UFL. Number. Right. Over time, it started to fade a little bit because of all the circus that was going on with the lawsuit and everything else, and a couple of franchises moved. But at any rate, they are resurfacing this. Coming up here in a couple of weeks, all of the games are played in Birmingham. So Birmingham's Legion Field is the home to the league, but it's the same teams, same logos, same uniforms. Not all of the original teams, but there's like 10 of the teams. The New Jersey Generals, the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Gamblers, the Michigan Panthers, the Philadelphia Stars, which is where Jim Mora won 2 titles, New Orleans Breakers, Tampa Bay Bandits, Pittsburgh Maulers. That's the league. Tickets are like $10 and $25. That's it. Two costs. And I looked at it, and the biggest name on the rosters, I was a little disappointed. The biggest name is Paxton Lynch.
Oh, yeah. Former first-round pick out of Memphis.
Correct. He's in there, and then there were a couple of...
Any former Colts?
You know what? I didn't see any former Colts.
Duron Carter.
You would think, right?
Daniel Adongo.
I didn't see any former Colts, and I didn't see any... there were a lot of guys you're like, wait a minute, this name sounds familiar, and then you look, okay, a wide receiver out of LSU, a wide receiver out of Alabama, where there's 1,000 of them. But anyway, that starts here in like a week and a half.
Trent Richardson, a revival.
See, that would be the perfect player, wouldn't it?
Right, Birmingham.
Yeah, he played for the Birmingham Iron.
All the teams are in their own cities, and then they just descend upon Birmingham
every weekend?
weekend?
That's a good question. I don't know if they go to if they're all just staying in Birmingham and they're just using the helmet and paint scheme of paint scheme. You know what I mean? Uniform.
It is wild, Jake. Tomorrow we are a month into free agency. The Colts have made 4 outside of the building signings. Basically, they've made 4 free agent signings of players that are not their own, and all 4 play in the secondary.
I mean, they're
just kind of an oddity.
Cell phone chargers and sunglasses, buddy. You can't have too many of them.
Yeah, and I don't say that just to obviously I've got issues with how Chris Ballard has handled free agency, but that's just kind of a weird little quirk that they've had. So Brandon King, and again, Adam Schefter had that, a Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, a special teamer coming here to Indianapolis. You caught up on sleep?
About half. I slept throughout the day yesterday, did not sleep well last night. So I'm getting there. Do we have a meeting today?
It's a good question. Yeah, I think so.
Hope not then, for your guys' sake.
Yeah.
That'll have a lot to do with my...
I know we've got Joe Reitz and Gary Brackett. They will be joining us. So a couple former Colts. 7:40 for Joe Reitz, and in the 8 o'clock hour, Gary Brackett will hop on with us. Yesterday, I saw some, I guess, Joe Reitz wannabes over at the Colts complex, the local pro day the Colts held. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Basically, every team in the NFL gets to hold a local pro day. Kids that played either college football within a certain radius, think Indiana, Purdue, I would say Illinois.
Does every franchise do this?
Every franchise does it. The local high school flavor. Like there was a quarterback that played at Cathedral whose college career I think has been like Maryland, Florida International. There was a safety from Miami of Ohio. I think it's Sterling Weatherford, who's supposed to be a potential draft pick from just north of Indianapolis. So you have guys that, again, their high school careers were in the Indy area or their college careers were located within a certain radius. So the Colts hosted about 50 guys yesterday. David Bell was one of them. He was not working out. David Bell was there, though, talking with Reggie Wayne, talking with Chris Ballard as well. Bell spoke afterwards, Jake, and I thought he made a good point of, and certainly his agent has had to have been in his ear of being like, all right, we know that the combine is not made for you. We know that these workouts and these stopwatches are necessarily not your forte. But Bell was adamant of when you want to grade a combine or you want to grade a football player, if you're grading the football player, I'm a plus catcher. I'm a plus catcher when it comes to contesting catches. I show up in big games, and you can line me up inside and outside, and you don't have a worry. And you almost like walk away from listening to him, and you're like, damn, he is so right about all of that.
Yes.
And it is amazing how the NFL has just turned into this, we would rather go off the testing numbers, and that will make us sleep better at night than a guy that has proven production at an All-American type level in one of the best conferences in college football. No issue with him in terms of work ethic and just being a winner because he's been that his entire career. Yet that makes people sleep a little bit uneasier at night than a stopwatch time.
Kevin, I'm telling you, I'm going to make an analogy that is ridiculous because there's a difference between life and death and a difference in football, right? But if you are drafting in the NFL, it's a life or death in terms of your career. I get it. When I went into the hospital and I was like, okay, I don't feel very good. And they said, you're going to have an angioplasty in your heart. And Mottman walked in the room. You know what I didn't ask him? I didn't say, what were your MCAT scores? What I wanted to know was, I did ask him to make conversation. So where'd you go to medical school? And he went to Michigan State undergrad, and then he went to the largest medical school in the state of Michigan.
You go, have you ever played the Tankathon game? I love playing that game.
That's right. I did ask him, I said, who's your favorite NFL team? And he said, the Lions. And I said, I probably look like what it feels like to be a Lions fan. I do remember that. But my point being, I wanted someone who I knew, and I was very comfortable in that situation with it resting in the balance. I could tell he knew what he was doing. I'm like, this guy's done this before.
Right.
And he was calm and collected, and he's exactly how you want someone to be, because I could tell he knew what he was doing because he'd done it before. And what I was concerned with was that he had done what he was about to do to me before, and that he had gone, he went through medical school. I didn't care about his MCAT scores. I didn't care about his whatever little tests they can give. I wanted to know from a practical standpoint that he was good at what he was about to do. And he was. Now, with NFL players and the combine, yeah, I guess it helps to see little things about them. But I want to know that they've done it before. I want to know that they've done it before, and I want to know where they've done it. And I look at David Bell, and yes, there are areas where if it comes down to a tiebreaker, maybe you take a guy that has more speed or whatever else, if that guy has been equally productive. But when I've seen the biggest games, the biggest moments, David Bell has been there before. And I could tell he knows what he's doing because he throws up 220-yard games. And he catches balls where Purdue, who didn't have a lot of other threats on the field, how many drives did you see extended because David Bell arrived? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And
I almost feel bad for him. afterwards, about how he has put up that type of resume, and yet his name is going to be, I think, called a lot later than we originally thought it would. I saw a mock draft yesterday from ESPN that had him going late third round. I think pick like 97, which is compensatory pick third round, almost into the fourth round. Xander Horvath was there, former Purdue running back. Ty Freifogel, Micah McFadden.
Freifogel's another one that's dropped, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Remember, he kind of flirted with coming out. What was it, 2 years ago? Or I guess just before this season, and the quarterback issues down there in Bloomington, I think, certainly hurt him. He
Terry McLaurin, you think Terry McLaurin's a good player?
Oh, yeah.
Third rounder.
Yeah, I mean, by no means am I saying that, Cooper Kupp, I think, was a third rounder, that all of a sudden David Bell, just because he drops, is going to have a disappointing career. It's just like, man, we just get so enamored in these testing numbers that he was making a really compelling
What did he
case
run?
for
What
himself.
was his time?
Was it like 4.6, kind of high 4.6, 4.68 maybe?
Give me a really solid receiver in the NFL, and let's look up their time, their 40 time.
A.J. Brown, Titans.
A.J. Brown, 40 time. Okay, here we go. Boom, it comes right up. 4.49. So 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, it's just crazy that makes such a difference in a lot of people's NFL's. A lot of people in the NFL and their eyes. There's another quarterback visit for the Colts this week. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. I think this is starting to turn into a little bit more smoke. And I know you brought up, Jake, maybe a smoke screen. This is something the Colts have not done in prior drafts. And I think we need to clarify here, these top 30 visits are different than just all of a sudden showing up at one of these quarterbacks' pro days. It's a little bit more exclusive. You probably want to be a little bit more choosy in who you bring in here for these visits. And there's another name that has appeared on that list for the Colts. Did I hear, like, there's a national rumor of Russell Westbrook to the Pacers?
Yeah, I don't.
Was that a nightmare?
That was one of my nightmares, so I didn't sleep as well. God. I don't understand that. And as we'll get into in the update coming up here in just a minute, I think the Fever probably slept well. No nightmare for the Fever.
Boy, if you're a Fever fan, again, the last 2 years have been awful. I guess you could say more so the on-floor product hasn't been great. And the fact that they've cut ties with former top 3 draft picks. But this is like almost an expansion team. And I would find it like an intriguing time to be a fan.
Totally.
Almost,
I think when you look,
because they spent all 4 of those picks in the top 10 last night on players. They didn't trade any of them.
Correct. And when you look at, and I sent this tweet last night, IUPUI went to the NCAA tournament this year. Their coach, Austin Parkinson, who's a really good women's coach, well, basketball coach in general, is now at Butler.
Their star player got drafted last night.
Butler's did? Or the IUPUI? Yeah, correct, yeah.
The Williams girl.
Purdue with Katie Gerald's, which has been a proud program. Indiana, we see, they're absolutely emerging, Indiana in women's basketball. Then the Fever last night getting 4 of the top 10 picks in the draft and doing very
Irish?
well in the draft.
Neil Ivey, Jaden Ivey's mother.
And they got beat. Which round did they get beat?
They got beat in the Sweet 16.
Okay. So my
Former
point
Fever
being,
player.
If you are somebody with a young girl who likes playing basketball, or you are a fan of women's basketball, we could be entering into a beautiful era here of basketball in Indiana for young girls to watch and for players to look up to and for teams to follow. And I love the fact that if you have a young daughter or son, I mean, don't get me wrong, but particularly a daughter, that there are, that the Fever could be a team now on the cusp that is in the upper echelon of the WNBA. It's just one step, drafting and entirely overhauling your roster. But when you are getting players from Baylor and Louisville and Stanford and South Carolina, you're getting players that are used to winning. It's and then at the college level, whichever of those schools I just mentioned, that a young girl, I think it's so important that young women, young girls have a sports team to identify with here in this area. I think it's great. I mean, you have a daughter. I think it's great that we could be in a really good era by the time Rosie's in, let's say, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever, that there are multiple teams of women that she can look up to and latch on to and root for. I think it's cool.
Mark, myself, and Uncle Jake heading to some Fever games.
That's right. We'll bring Jake the Bear.
Cotton candy.
I do like cotton candy.
Cotton candy's a must.
Right?
Yeah. I get loopy on the cotton candy.
Shocking. Well, yeah. I have 2 energy drinks waiting in my car when I get to the economy lot.
That's
at
right.
Indianapolis International.
That was a smart move. That was a power move, wasn't it?
Honestly, you talk about planning ahead.
Yeah. One rain of a Noah about the arc, buddy.
Like I said, planned ahead more than he has done for this show here over the last 6 or 7 months. Joe Reitz going to join us in about 20 minutes. Gary Brackett in the 8 o'clock hour. The Russell Westbrook Pacers rumors. And again, the Colts have a quarterback visit with a draft prospect we've actually seen mocked to them a little bit more in their range in the second round. So we'll touch on that as well. Looks like a nice Tuesday. After yesterday, we deserve it. Looks like a pretty good temperature day outside. So appreciate you tuning in. The stream is back and working. Kevin and Query on a Tuesday.
School is in session.
Jason Benetti, how do you view Kansas is only going to hang on to this for a few months?
Erasing records is garbage.
I agree.
We have the video. The games happened. Do whatever you want, but we don't have to listen to you.
Jimmy could put that in a promotion where you're saying, we don't have to listen to you, pal.
I meant the NCAA, but I like it as you instead.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
When you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Big O Tires is locally owned and operated with the lowest price on every tire every day, plus online appointment scheduling and financing made easy. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Well, we had to wait a few extra weeks, but baseball is officially back. Apply online today for your next home purchase at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
Now through April 14th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends April 14th. See club for details.
BetMGM welcomes you with a special offer on the NHL, an official sports betting partner of BetMGM. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team scores a goal in the game, you'll win $200 in free bets. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200. That's all one word, capital T, capital F. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. So download the app or go to BetMGM.com. And again, use that bonus code THEFAN200 to win $200 in free bets if a goal is scored in the game you wager on. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Get ready for an afternoon of family fun. Franciscan Health teamed up with Forte Sports Medicine and Orthopedics to create an industry-leading facility for specialized orthopedic care. And you're invited to the free grand opening event in Carmel on Saturday, April 23rd from 1 to 4, featuring an obstacle course, scavenger hunt, health screenings, photo booth, appearances by local radio personalities, and the chance to win prizes including a Peloton bike. Visit franciscanhealth.org/events for more details.
The Fed has raised rates, but it's not too late for you.
There's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 3.75% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak, and I urge you to call now. With home values at all-time highs and Golden Oak Lending's low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get a free mortgage checkup and find out how much cash you can get. It's more than you think.
That's right. Plus, Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available at near-record low rates, and you can skip 2 mortgage payments.
Lock in this low 3.75% rate. And if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 3.75% fixed, 4.88% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
I was dragged underneath the car. It was a frightening experience, and I just wasn't going to die that day.
Danny was a road worker on a road job site. Just minutes before his day ended, it happened.
I don't even know the amount of feet that she dragged me underneath the car.
A reckless driver in a construction zone hit Danny.
It was so quick that I couldn't even react.
Lifeline was called in.
I sustained a traumatic brain injury. I was bleeding from my head and both of my ears. I had to have my head drilled.
Danny would see the inside of a hospital for more than 3 months.
I just wanted to go home. Home is where my heart was.
10 seconds.
They took her to jail.
And your life changes forever.
I'm not vindictive, but you got what you got coming to you.
If you injure a road worker because of careless driving through a construction zone, you will be prosecuted.
God help you,
For your sake and theirs, read the signs. Slow down. Save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Have you ever thought about what you flush and how it affects your plumbing? I'm being serious here. Dan Dockage for Whole Wall Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, my friend Larry, told me their team of plumbers work on all kinds of stuff that gets flushed. Here's a short list of what not to flush. Chewing gum, hair, dental floss, Q-tips, cotton balls, tissue, and paper towels. So what do you do if you flush this stuff? Find yourself with a stopped-up toilet? Give the Whole Wall team a call. As they say, trust your flush to us. Go to wholewallheatingandair.com or give them a call at 317-255-4328.
This SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
So the Fever reload last night. They got 4 of the top 10 picks. You just heard us talking about it, Kevin, and the reality is, this is what I like about it. It's one thing to go out and get great draft picks. It's another to get picks from players from programs that are used to winning.
Yeah, Baylor, South Carolina, Louisville, Stanford,
Indiana.
Ali Patberg, Columbus native, started her career at Notre Dame, finished up at Indiana. So a busy night for the Fever. Tonight, it is busy for Pacers fans in the fact that they need to cheer for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's the Cavs and the Nets in the 7-8 play-in game. So, for I feel like the umpteenth day in a row, Jake, we've talked about this. If the Cavs win, they are the 7 seed. And that means their first-round pick comes right over here to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and the Pacers get to use that likely in the late teens. If they lose, they'll have another chance to make the playoffs on Friday. That game, they would play the winner of Atlanta and Charlotte, which takes place tomorrow night. And the same thing applies there. If the Cavs were to win that game, that pick would come to Indiana. So that is Cavaliers watch. They are an 9-point underdog tonight against Brooklyn.
So unless the Cavaliers go on a 2-game losing streak to close out the season, the Pacers will have their first-round pick.
Yes. Unfortunately for Pacers fans, the Cavs have lost a lot.
And they would play where in that second game?
That would be in Cleveland. Tonight is in Brooklyn. They would host Friday either against Atlanta or Charlotte. They are 1-3 on the year against the Nets. No Jared Allen, one of their better players. He's missed a lot of time here late in the season. Karis LeVert, I guess, revenge game, right?
That's right. Yeah, you're right. LeVert's already, this is, stop 3 for him.
7 o'clock tonight on TNT. Yesterday, exit interviews for the Indiana Pacers. It is a pivotal offseason and some internal decisions on Myles Turner. Here was the big man describing that.
This offseason is going to be something that's going to be really good for me. I'm relatively healthy now, and I feel like I have a lot to offer, on the court and off the court for these guys.
I like Myles Turner, and I think
like
that
a fan fest in the background.
That's right.
They inserted like a highlight underneath. I don't know why you need to always do that. That's not my doing.
I've heard that from him before, but he's also been rumored in this situation before.
1 year left on his contract.
I think that they will ride that out.
Extension or just ride it out?
Ride it out and then probably assess where they are, right? The Russell Westbrook rumor, I think the reason Russell Westbrook's name has been rumored to Indiana is because when you look at his salary, this is a player who has a huge price tag. But
it's like nearly $50 million.
Right, and that price tag has not, I don't know that any player lives up to that. He certainly has not. His game has dropped dramatically. But when you hear the rumors of, hey, Indiana could be a likely destination for Russell Westbrook, I don't know this, but I have very strong gut and suspicion on this. That would be because Indiana is not looking for him to be a centerpiece of what they're doing, but rather because they are willing to take on that contract as it expires so that they can have cap flexibility.
Yeah, and I understand that, Jake. My thing is this. Since when does a team in a market like Indiana flush with cap space attract who they need to attract to use that cap space?
Correct.
I would rather attract young players that actually are Tyrese Halliburton-like, like actual pieces that you can build with and or draft picks. I just think the Pacers are in a pretty good cap situation. I don't think they need to get themselves into a, great cap situation. Sure, you can do some different things with that cap space, but for me, it's not like you're going to have the big-name free agents knocking down the door and saying, oh, yeah, I want to play in Indiana. It's just never been the case.
Hey, guys, let's say the Pacers get hosed in the lottery and pick 7 and 9. Are there enough big-time players to get a game changer? I don't personally believe so. I
want Benedict in that range.
I think there is one really good, I think there are 3 trajectory-changing players, one really intriguing player with its high risk, high reward in Chet Holmgren, and then a handful of kind of safe picks.
Yeah, I don't think Keegan Murray is going to be in that range, right? Don't you kind of see Keegan Murray going higher than that?
I see Murray in Group 2. So, Group 1 is, to me, this is just me, Banchero, Jabari Smith, Jaden Ivey. No particular order. Benedict from Arizona is pushing his way towards that list, truth be told.
I like him.
Group 2 to me, no particular order. Shaedon Sharpe, Keegan Murray, A.J. Griffin, maybe Johnny Davis. Safe guys that can be a piece for you, but not a centerpiece. And then after that, it's complementary fill-in, best position fillers. At that 17, 18, 19 range where they would theoretically be drafting second, I'm telling you, I love Mark Williams of Duke. And for that role.
To that question, Jake, if they do get hosed in the lottery 7, 8, 9, that's why the Cavaliers pick is so important. Because if you get to 7, 8, 9, but yet you have that Cavs pick coming back, 10 or 12 slots later, you can do a couple of things. You can take a player, like you said, a Mark Williams, if he falls to that level, or you can trade that pick and move up into, 4, 5, something like
Today's take-a-thon to show you the Pacers currently sitting at 5th, but when I spin the wheel, with the 6th pick in the 2022 NBA mock draft, the Indiana Pacers select A.J. Griffin from Duke University.
Kind of a shooter.
He is a shooter, 6'6". A lot of young guys up there towards the top. As a matter of fact, almost all of them are, Keegan Murray's 21 and a half. He's the oldest player that's projected to go in the top 20 picks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're Duarte's age last year, they act like you're in a nursing home.
Correct.
In the NBA. All right, so we'll get more into that Russell Westbrook Pacers rumor a little bit later. The Colts hosting a quarterback visit, not just Malik Willis. We'll touch on that here. The NFL draft, crazy enough, is 2 weeks from Thursday. Is that right? Yep. Gosh, 2 weeks from Thursday here. So we'll hit on that as well. And guy that's been a part of the draft coverage in years past, we'll talk about that with him coming up in about 5 minutes. Joe Reitz, former Colts offensive lineman. You hear him on the pregame show in the fall. He'll join us next here. Kevin and Query at 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Braves, Padres, Sunday Night Baseball. The coverage begins at 6 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Do you believe that something great can be even better? We do. By adding sweetened peaches to creamy peach ice cream, Blue Bell has raised the bar on flavor. Try a half gallon or pint of Peachy Peach today. You'll be better for it.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Blue Bell ice cream at select Kroger stores.
Hey, it's Jake Query. You know, that commercial just said first day of first grade, you made a new best friend. I did, as a matter of fact, Matt Churchman. And Matt Churchman and I still buddies to this day. Grade school, on the other hand, well, it took a bit of a shelf for me. A while, as a matter of fact, before I went back to school. But I'm back taking classes now, courtesy of the Indiana Commission for Higher Education, and I would love for you folks to do the same. If I can do it, you can as well. I'm taking online classes at Indiana University. Love the online structure because I can kind of do things each week. You get an assignment and your list of assignments each week, obviously, but you're able to do it within your own time with a deadline for each particular assignment, and then you get feedback from the professors. I enjoy it. I'm wrapping up semester number 1 here in completing a degree that I had left on the shelf some 25 years ago because those classes that I had taken way back in the day, they don't expire. They were still there. They had a great group of advisors that got with me to say, Jake, here's the roadmap to getting that degree that you had set out for a goal for yourself. Folks, whether in your case, life simply got in the way, maybe it was finances that got in the way, I'd love to see you go back, and nextleveljobs.org is the place and the resource where you can find all of the information. Over 150 certifications in high-wage industries throughout the state of Indiana are waiting for you to go and get that completion or to get that certification in any number of different fields. Nextleveljobs.org. If you're looking to go back and simply finish that degree as a goal or to help your family, better your situation, they have there all of the information about tuitions, grants, and things to help out in terms of the financial assistance that is necessary. You might even find a program that covers all the tuition for you. Nextleveljobs.org. I'd love to have you join me in the quest to getting that degree, courtesy of the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
Hey, it's JMV. Race Trash Services, the largest independent recycling and waste solutions provider in the Indianapolis area, and right now, they're looking for great people to join the team. Race is a family-operated business and has been providing Central Indiana with industry-leading recycling and waste disposal solutions since 1965. They focus a lot on the culture to make it a great place to work. Go to racetrash.com to see the career opportunities waiting for you. That's racetrash.com today. Race, your recycling and waste solutions partner.
When a health system treats patients with the very best in medical care and compassion, it needs a rare kind of staff. That's why Eskenazi Health never stops looking for professionals who understand that technology is most effective when paired with a genuine human touch. If you are a nurse,
a social worker,
or another professional interested in a career with us, visit eskenazihealth.edu/careers. Eskenazi Health, one of Becker's 150 great places to work in healthcare.
Every dribble, every pass, and every bucket, all in the palm of your hand. Because now you can sign up and bet. No strings attached with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app featuring award-winning customer service. Live in-game bets, player props, and instant betting bucket to bucket. Don't miss out on all the big games. Get in the action with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 3.75% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 3.75% fixed, 4.88% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hi, honey. Just checking in for my trip. How's everything on the home front?
John, a big storm just hit us and the power is out. The temperature in the house is already getting really uncomfortable. I can't make the kids dinner without power, and they aren't able to get their homework done with no internet.
Don't get into a situation like this. Extreme weather and grid outages are becoming more and more common. You need to protect your family and your home from power outages. You need a Kohler backup generator that automatically kicks on when the power goes out. Just call 800-219-4389 for a free quote and $250 $250 in savings. Unlike portable models, Kohler backup generators offer hands-off operation without the need to refuel. They automatically power your entire home, hassle-free. And with Kohler, you know you can trust this generator when you need it. Don't wait until it's too late and severe weather hits. Call 800-219-4389 for a free quote and $250 in savings. You can't afford not to call. Call 800-219-4389. That's 800-219-4389. 800-219-4389.
Right now, get up to 60% off store-wide. Styles start at just $8, including tops for maid and jeans from just $14. Hurry to Old Navy and OldNavy.com for up to 60% off store-wide now. Valid 4/5 through 4/17. Select styles only.
It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Kevin, you ever done, what is the technical term for it? Rowing? Like when you get like 7 people. When you get a bunch of people in the boat and you row, I always forget. Crew. Do you ever do crew?
Crew. No, I don't think I've got the upper body to be doing crew. That's a workout.
Our next guest on the program basically has, I believe, the ultimate trifecta when it comes to sports. Because he played professional football, but collegiately he played college basketball at a program where they basically say row the boat. So I mean, I think of that as also he was in crew.
Boy, I was wondering
right?
where you were going with that.
So he's part of our crew, so to speak, now, right?
And I think he'd be is crewer the right word?
Crewer? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think he'd be good. He was.
They actually have up on Lake Michigan, just north. They have the Milwaukee Crewers.
What were you doing at 5 a.m. this morning?
Me?
Yes.
Getting ready for bed.
This guy was pumping iron.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. He gets up early every morning. Joe Reitz is our next guest. He's on the Payless Liquors hotline. Joe, it's 7:41. How long have you been up?
Well, my alarm went off at 4:29 a.m. this morning. Like you said, had a good workout, 5 a.m. with my good buddy Ryan Davis, AD at Guerin Catholic.
Oh, love me some Ryan Davis.
Just to get the juices flowing, and I knew that it's early, but I wanted to be on the Jake and Kevin schedule. You guys got to get up early. Out of respect to you and having me on today, I had to get up early as well. So glad to be here, gentlemen, and good to talk to you again. It's been a minute.
Look at
that's
that.
Impressive.
4:29, Jake.
Now, why not 4:30? Do you feel like you're really getting up earlier that way?
I have this odd, I have some quirks like I think we all do, but I cannot set my alarm on an even number, a 0 or a 5 for some weird reason. So it's an odd reason, I guess, but it can only end in a 1, 3, 7, or 9 for me whenever I set my alarm every morning.
And you go to bed at what time?
Roughly 9:30, 10-ish. I mean, I try to get 7 hours of sleep a night. Don't always accomplish that, but, I try to get to bed 9:30, 10 so I can get up at 4:35 just because, like probably most of us, if I'm up from 10 o'clock to midnight, I'm probably on the couch watching sports, drinking beer. But if I'm up from 5 to 7 with my young, growing family, that's kind of the only quiet, nice, peaceful time in the house in the morning.
9:31 p.m. is when he actually technically goes.
Are you a volume? Are you an even number guy on the volume? Like on the remote,
No, I'm odd everywhere, and it probably fits my personality. But anytime I can have an odd digit somewhere, I'm gonna lead with that.
Boy, the unique and the versatile Joe Reitz, he's with us here on Kevin and Query on this Tuesday morning. Before we get into specifics offseason wise and talk a little draft as well, Joe, just kind of your overall thoughts. We're now a month into it. Obviously, the Matt Ryan trade, the Yannick Ngakoue trade are the big headliners. Besides that, relatively quiet. Just your overall thoughts on what Chris Ballard has done so far a month into the offseason.
Yeah, I think it has been relatively quiet. I think the one thing we've seen with Chris is he's going to be patient, and I would guess that, there's some other dominoes, some maybe free agent veterans they're going to bring in, but maybe you wait till the draft, right, and see what your needs are a little bit more and assess, or maybe, kind of the longer you wait, maybe you get somebody on a little bit friendlier deal. But I think overall, I like Ngakoue. He's a guy that's a proven commodity in this league. I mean, my buddy Costanzo, he didn't struggle with many guys in the NFL, but he struggled with Ngakoue like I did, like we all did. So I'm really excited to see him opposite Kwity Paye and that 1-2 pass rush they can bring on the edges. But the Matt Ryan trade leads the day. And to me, I might be a little bit more bullish on Matt Ryan than even some. I think the Colts are unequivocally in a better spot than they were last year with Wentz right now. And I just think Matt Ryan, again, he's taken a team to the Super Bowl. Everybody I've talked to or played in Atlanta, I mean, rants and raves about him. You can't find somebody to say a bad thing about him. And then personally, you know, I know him just a little bit. So Matt and I were at the same NCAA leadership conference in 2006, right? So it was 16 years ago, but think every school could send kind of one representative. It was in Orlando at Disney World. It was really cool. But think there's 500 men and women of all different colleges, D1, 2, and 3. And he was there. We were kind of in the same group cohort. And I'm just telling you, he had this magnetic type personality. I mean, it's the alpha of alphas there, right? Every school's picking one person and sending them there. And Matt Ryan still stood kind of above everybody else. He just had this gravitational almost pull about him. And I remember I was like, man, this guy is just a cool guy. I want to be best friends with this guy. He seems awesome. You can tell he's just a leader from day one. And I know he's going to bring that to the Colts. And to me, the Colts locker room needs that kind of alpha leader that when times get tough, when it's, you know, the last game of the season and things aren't going well against Jacksonville, everybody's got to be able to look to somebody that's going to rise and that's going to pull them up. And to me, Matt Ryan brings that Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers-esque leadership quality to this locker room. And right there, I think that the Colts, again, are just in a much better spot than they were last year.
And so that's the thing.
I'm super excited about him.
Joe, here's the thing, and I want to make clear, Joe Reitz is our guest. I'm not saying this as a means to introducing you into being critical of Carson Wentz as a person, okay? I want to be clear on that. But I've always said there are two kinds of people in this world when it comes to guys. Guys that are with the program and guys that aren't. And you can just tell sometimes when you meet a guy, like, that guy's with the program. Matt Ryan sounds like, from what you're saying, when you meet him, you just go, that guy's just he just gets it, right? In Carson Wentz's case, I don't mean to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but the things you're talking about, just that intangible, like, immediate belief of, like, that guy just gets it. I think Carson Wentz, in terms of being a nice guy, that may be the case, but just in terms of being a demonstrative leader for his football team, it seems as though he just didn't fully go that area of locker room guys buying into and wanting to fall in line of the alpha of the alphas. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think when I look at a quarterback, it's the most important position in sports. And so to me, your leadership, your intangibles, all that extra stuff is the most important. And I was lucky to be around Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, and both leaders in different ways. But especially when I walked into the Colts facility in 2010 when I was claimed on waivers, Peyton was 36 years old. And I walked in and there was almost this aura that, you know, Peyton Manning, I remember he was in slacks and like a dress shirt at 6 a.m. when he was in the facility. And I can remember thinking, like, well, that's kind of weird because everybody else wears shorts and a T-shirt. But he was just different in that, like, it was all about business, right? First one in the building, it's about business, the last one to leave. And I just think Matt Ryan is going to walk in day one, in my opinion, and he's going to own the locker room. He's going to be somebody the community rallies behind. He's going to be somebody that the whole building can get behind and say, this guy can take us to a Super Bowl. And I think the difference with him and Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers, when he signed, I think everybody kind of was like, is it a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year thing? Matt Ryan is going to be here years plus. And I think, to me, that's going to help even more the team, the franchise, the city rally around him, knowing, hey, he's our quarterback for the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and hopefully we're going to go on a bunch of playoff runs in that time frame. I'm just really excited for him. And as the team gets ready to report to, quote, a normal offseason for the first time in 2 years, these OTAs offseason work, I think that you'll start to hear different players speak to his leadership, his qualities, and how excited they are to take the field with the new number 2 for the Colts.
Listen, if Peyton Manning had on slacks and a dress shirt at 6 a.m., that's not totally odd. If he'd set his alarm for 4:29, that's a sign of a psychopath. Just so you know.
I'm not going to disagree there, but overall, yeah, I'm super excited about the Colts. I think probably, like, cornerback and receiver to me are two positions that still need to be addressed either in the draft, free agency, et cetera. But I like what we did with Ngakoue, and then I'm more bullish on Pryor at left tackle than maybe some other people.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical, but you're the expert here. I just go back to your quote, Joe, if, offensive linemen are made and left tackles are born, and I don't want to help out that position. And I look at the weapons right now on this roster, you need all of them out on the route trees. I don't see a lot of them winning one-on-one, and if I've got to help that left tackle a little bit more than I'd like to, that's one less weapon for Matt Ryan.
Well, I think that last year he played 3 different positions. I think he's naturally more of a tackle than he is a guard. I think he does have the traits that you're looking for in left tackle. I just think he needs experience at the position. And if he's young, he's got the chance to be coached up. And if you're playing next to Quentin Nelson as well, I've always said that, that's instantly going to make him 20% better. So we'll see what they do in the draft and free agency. But, you brought in Eric Fisher last year, and he played well the mid-stretch when he got going, but he was just banged up all year. And if you're going to take a healthy, younger Matt Pryor who can play 17 games versus a guy that's banged up and battling injuries, that means something too. And so I think his youth will help him in the fact that hopefully he can have, knock on wood, have a good, healthy season there. But again, I always go back to, as fans, and I kind of have that dual hat now as fan and ex-player, we all want to be super excited, think the roster's set, April 12th, where what I learned my first year from Ozzie Newsome, Ozzie would go ahead and sign a guy after week 1 started, a veteran, and then start him the other 15 games. And generally, the more patient you are, like anything in life, the better off you'll be. And so I think we got to give a little bit of leash to Chris Ballard and trust in the patience and trust that when the first game and tips up at September 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever it is, they're going to have a roster that's ready to compete and win the division. And that's probably my last overall thought about the Colts. I said it last year going in, and it didn't come to fruition, but it's time for the Colts to take back the division, and the time is now.
Joe, when you were a player, Joe Reitz is our guest on the Payless Liquors Hotline. In the offseason, I know that it's important for players to kind of step aside and reset, reprogram, but how much are you truly paying attention to the roster when you are locked in, you got a couple years left on your deal, you are a Colt? How much are you looking at what Chris Ballard's doing, and do players get the same impatience or speculation that the media or fans do?
I would say no. I would say as a young player, I was looking at the roster being like, man, I just hope we don't sign or draft any offensive linemen.
Right.
That was my hope. But when you're a veteran and you're going to be on the team, I would say guys really don't pay attention because they know that there's so much turnover year over year and even intra-season that depending on the draft and training camp, and then injuries are going to happen, unfortunately. There's going to be some trades late in training camp. Guys know that the roster doesn't really matter until you get to week 1. And even then, the roster really doesn't matter until you get into probably weeks 4, 5, 6, because there's always some turnover as well early on. So most guys wear the same hat, that we're just going to focus on us and our position group and know if we can get as good as we can be, then we're going to help the team and we're going to play winning football. And so those guys in the offensive line room, just speaking for them, you got some established players in Smith and Kelly and Quentin. What's going to happen at right guard? They let Glowinski and Chris Reed both go. That tells me that the team is really high on Danny Pinter and Will Fries. Will Fries is a guy that not a lot of people know, but he was drafted last year. He was on the active roster all last year. I thought he played well in preseason. And so to me, those guys are going to be in the mix. And then Pryor is probably on paper your starting left tackle, but a lot can change and happen over the next 6 months.
Fresh off of 30 reps of 225, maybe 35 of 225 this morning. He's Joe Reitz, and he's with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. I want to go back to Ngakoue for a second, Joe. I posted something to our website, just kind of the winners and the losers if you're in-house for the Colts with free agency. You just kind of mentioned it of, hey, I was hoping that they wouldn't sign any tackles when I was younger in my day. For DeForest Buckner, I feel like the Ngakoue signing is absolutely massive. Like, I look at him as a clear winner. You see how much he was doubled, and when third down came around in past years, I feel like the pass protection plan for opposing teams wasn't so much worrying about the edge. It was, hey, we need to get 2 on Buckner. Whereas now with Ngakoue, that might free up Buckner for getting a few more of those one-on-one pass rush opportunities.
100%. You make such a great point there, Kevin. You want to be able to get home with 4 guys, and that's, I think, what the Colts are working for, where you can rush 4 and you can drop 7 and put pressure on the quarterback. And when you're Buckner and you're getting doubled all game, it's just frustrating. But the fact that now you got another stud out there, and if he's lined up next to you, okay, if I can get 10 solo rushes in the game, then I got a chance to really win and put some pressure on the quarterback and heat him up. I think Dio in the middle too. If you could put those 2, Ngakoue, Kwity Paye, you're starting to develop a pretty good pass rush there. Paye should only get better going into his second year, but there's just something to be said about having a guy out there that's got a bunch of career sacks, that sacked a bunch of different quarterbacks that you can line up that puts some sort of fear in the defense on the edge. And I felt like offensive coordinators last year, are you really staying up late at night worried about Kwity Paye as a rookie? Probably not. But are you going to be staying up late worrying about Ngakoue and now a second-year Kwity Paye on the edge? A lot more. And to your point, that frees up, big buck one-on-one in the middle to go to work on some centers or some guards that he can take advantage of. I think that signing of Ngakoue bolsters and gives you strength at the other three positions and gives you flexibility to move some guys around. And now as a four-man defensive front, figure out who's the offensive lineman that's weakest, who's the guy that we can attack, and give you some different flexibility.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to close out here with a couple of questions. These are the things that I, at 4:29 in the morning, I'm thinking about.
Oh, God.
That are always really dumb questions, and
Sorry,
I apologize for that, but I think people think, you know what I mean? I think people wonder this stuff. You ready?
I'm ready.
The first is, give me the name of a play, like when you were in the huddle, whether it be Peyton Manning or like they come in and they call a play, give me the name of one of those plays when you were a Colt, if you remember one.
Yeah, I'll tell you one that I didn't like. So, let's say trips right, deep key right, 929 H-wheel F flat, something like that. The only words that I hear right there are deep key right. What does that mean? Key right's a protection. Deep key right means it's a 7-step drop. That's when you're walking up to the line, you're like, all right, here we go, 7-step drop. Let's battle for a long, long time. And, again, I always – so, yeah, that's a play right there.
So the reason I asked it, that kind of answers it. But I always wondered, as a lineman, there's so many plays, so many things, so many verbiages. Did you know what every single play was, or did you listen for a few things and then just simply know, I know this is a pass play. I don't know who the primary is. I don't know. I know what my job is to protect on the pass on this side, and that's all I'm worried about. Which of the two ways did you process it?
Yeah, usually you just want to worry about your job and what you have to do, but the longer I played and had a more understanding of the offense conceptually, that helped me in pass protection because I realized that even though the protection is one thing, if I know the route is shorter or that the primary guy, is TY on a quick hitch route, then I know, well, hopefully the ball's coming out quick and I can approach my pass a little bit differently. So I feel like that the more conceptual knowledge you have, the better, but generally us linemen, goes back to basics. If we hear a run called, boom, we're fired up and ready to go. If we hear a pass called, hey, we know we just got to hold on as long as we can. The worst, though, is when you'd be playing and you'd have a run called, and then all of a sudden you get up there and it's apple, or alert, or ready, whatever the call is, and then you switch it to a pass on the fly, and then the cadence starts, and you got about 5 seconds to get your mind right to switch from run mode into pass protection mode. That was always the toughest for me.
Okay, last one, even though I know we're heavy here, but I'm curious of this. Did you ever, in practice, knowing the Colts, and I realized that, you had Mathis, for example, who knew what he was doing, but would it be out of character for an offensive lineman if the Colts are trying to establish a pass rush? You're wanting to look good in practice. You're wanting to earn your own keep as a starter. But you're noticing that Kwity Paye or Dio is doing something schematically or in their movement that is not advantageous to get them off the line. Do offensive linemen ever then go to their teammate who's a defensive player and say, hey, listen, here's what you should be doing. You're making this too easy for me. You should be doing this because on Sunday that's what you need to do, even though that's going to make you beat me in practice and make me look bad.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I think iron sharpens iron, and Robert Mathis and Freeney helped me so much because once I kind of got established as a starter, they'd be like, hey, you're doing this, or you're giving me a tip, or you're opening your feet up, and they helped me be another lineman. I always felt like leading up to the season, training camp, it's about you and making the team. But once you get to week one, it's about the team and helping everybody, and I think there's a lot of that between tackles and pass rushers. There's a lot of that between receivers and corners, and that you're trying to help each other, be at your very best. And the really great teams, they have that culture where it's all about helping one another get as good as you can be.
I know in years past, Joe, you've been a part of the draft radio coverage. Are you doing that again this year?
I believe so. I got to verify with my man Mayte, but obviously the draft will be a little bit different with the Colts not having a first-round pick, but I'm excited about them. And again, the bottom line, Matt Ryan, in my opinion, his free agency is going to be 10 times better than anybody we're going to get in the draft. So again, I'm always a little bit more bullish. I know people can call me a homer if they want. I'm a former player. I love this team. I love this franchise. But to me, the Colts are in a really good spot. I'm excited to watch Matt Ryan lead this team. And one other thing that I'm intrigued about, even more so than the draft, the schedule release. Because I think that this year's team, with as tough as the Colts schedule is, the AFC West, 9 road games, 8 home games, it's very important for the Colts to get off to a good start and not play catch-up and chase Tennessee like they've been doing the last couple of years. So I'm really going to be looking on that September-October schedule, and can the Colts get off to a fast start, something we haven't been able to do recently, and all of a sudden now we are the hunted and not playing the hunters late in the season. To me, that's important with this new quarterback and with this franchise.
Yeah, that we should get that here in about a month, typically early May to mid-May, the schedule release for the NFL season. Joe, love your insight. Nothing like it. I know it's controlled chaos when you get back to the Reitz household in the morning, so appreciate you hopping on with us, and hopefully we can get on the golf course soon.
Sounds great. Good to be with you both, man, and have a great rest of your day.
That's the great Joe Reitz right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. If you missed that, Mark will have it up on the podcast. Joe is the first of 2 former Colts we'll have on today. Gary Brackett's going to join us a little bit later in the 8 o'clock hour. We come back, we'll continue the Colts conversation, an interesting quarterback visit, draft-related, and another free agent signing. We'll touch on that here next. 8 o'clock hour, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Back in the fold as the head coach of the Butler Bulldogs, Thad Matta. How much of that time you spent away from the game, Thad, do you think that you were just done with coaching in general?
I don't think I ever thought in my mind I was done. This year being down there at IU kind of sparked a little hunger that, like, hey, I think I definitely want to do this again. And this is obviously the perfect situation for Thad Matta.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Auto Sales and Service doesn't believe in good or bad credit. Present an Indiana ID, pay stub, proof of residence, and a down payment, and you're approved. Visit them at their 2 locations, Auto Sales and Service.
Hey, it's JMV for CarX. Tires, brakes, coolant exchanges, spring road readiness with 14 central Indiana locations. To find the one nearest you, that's CarX.com today.
You've been stuck at home with an unfinished home improvement project staring back at you, or maybe you went on one too many online shopping sprees during quarantine. We've all been there, but you can offset those high prices with Golden Oak Lending's low 3.75% rate. You got to hurry, though. It's not going to stay like this forever. The Fed has raised rates, but Golden Oak Lending still has millions of dollars at near record low rates. We know home financing has a language all its own, but Golden Oak Lending speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers are always local. They know the Indy market, make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon or numbers. And getting started couldn't be easier. With Golden Oak's free mortgage checkup, it's risk-free. There's no paperwork or credit card required. So just call 317-706-GOLD to find out how much money you could save each month. That's 317-706-GOLD, or head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity could do for you. NMLS 114937, 3.75% fix, 4.88% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Mother's Day is Sunday, May 8th, and there are so many reasons to give a gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company.
Dear Mom, what can I say? You're amazing. From being team mom at my Little League games to putting up with me when I was a wild teenager, you've taught me so much, and I'm forever grateful. Happy Mother's Day.
A gift of fine jewelry is truly special. It's something Mom will treasure forever. Shane Company has gifts in every price range, crafted with attention and care. Stunning diamond jewelry, classic styles with sapphires, beautiful cultured pearls. Get her something stylish and colorful, like huggy earrings with vibrant gemstones. Available in either London blue topaz, red garnet, or amethyst. Or surprise her with an exquisite butterfly necklace. The wings are accented with blue sapphires. Visit us for a meaningful Mother's Day gift, tied with a burgundy bow and ready to give.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Working with a financial planner who has a complete view of your financial life allows you to see the big picture and gives you a fresh perspective on your approach to wealth planning. Call Edelman Financial Engines at 833-PLAN-EFE for a free retirement review and financial plan. We can offer a brand new view on how to take advantage of opportunities that are available to you. Think of it as a second opinion on your approach to wealth planning. You'll partner with an experienced planner who'll review your retirement goals to help build a portfolio based on our strategic approach to investing. It's a good way to validate what you've been doing or find out if there's anything else you could be doing today to build for the future. Call 833-PLAN-EFE by tonight at 10 p.m. to take advantage of this limited time offer. This is an $800 value, yours free. So call 833-PLAN-EFE or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. Make today the day you make your financial goals real.
Indianapolis. At Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
We're starting a family, so benefits matter to me.
You got it, Anna. Geico offers a comprehensive benefits package and paid parental leave because family matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even your morning coffee routine matters.
You know what they say. Live, laugh, half-calf macchiato, extra whip.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
They've rocked over 35 million fans around the world.
It's my
Bon Jovi, the 2022 tour. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, April 19th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Bon Jovi, all their anthems for one incredible night. Presented by Hampton Water. For more, check BonJovi.com.
Jake Query here. You know, recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
It's a gorgeous Tuesday morning. And the stream is back working.
I got to get out the sunglasses here.
Is this the first sunny day? And since we've started this thing?
It might be.
You can see Riley Towers crystal clear on this Tuesday morning. Doesn't sound like it's going to stay like this forever, unfortunately. But thank you for tuning in to Kevin and Query. Just had Joe Reitz on. If you missed that, terrific insight as always with Joe. Appreciate his time. And Gary Brackett's going to join us here in about a half hour. For those that missed it, the Colts made a free agent signing. Adam Schefter reporting this a little over an hour ago. Brandon King, that's not Brendan King, who you've heard on our airwaves. That's Brandon King. Turns 29 in June, a defensive player. You know, he played for the Patriots, so when I see the headline kind of cross, I'm thinking to myself, man, that name doesn't really ring a bell. And I feel like, you know, I would know a Patriot defender that's been in the league for this long. And then sure enough, he has played dose defensive snaps in his NFL career.
Okay, let's play the always fun game. Where did he play collegiately? You get two guesses top of your head. I'm going to take Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Mark?
Shit.
Sorry.
That's good. Call me off guard.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for. That'll be the last time we play this game.
8:08 on a Tuesday, and Mark sees his son for the first time.
I know. It's a whole different person.
Did you at least dump yourself there?
I did dump myself.
God.
Oh my goodness. That's
Mark dropping expletives.
Jake made it 3 hours yesterday, sleep deprived.
Of all the things to get an expletive out of Mark Dykton, that was it?
Well, because I was thinking Ole Miss, and then you said it. I was like, I don't want to copy Jake, so he threw me off. But I'll say LSU and Miami.
Okay, Kevin?
Maybe Brendan King can come back and be the
I was going to say,
wow. Unfortunately, I looked it up, so I know where he went.
Auburn University, right?
Right. I thought it was a Brandon King that played at Purdue a few years ago. Maybe that
was a running back, right?
Thinking of, I thought he was a DB too. I actually thought this was the same guy.
No, Brandon Jacobs was there. Didn't they have a running back, Brandon Jacobs?
Oh, he was the big fella for the Giants. Remember him?
Yeah, but who was
Ahmad Bradshaw and him?
People are yelling at the radio right now like Mark was.
1,390 special teams snaps in the career of Brandon King. So we know where he will be buttering his bread here in Indy. And, of course, the connection there is Bubba Ventrone played and coached in New England, and so is familiar with Brandon King. But yet another defensive back. I don't know. Maybe he's a small linebacker signing, but I don't think expecting him on defense is probably not the thing to do.
Brandon King in 2009 was a 5'11 freshman corner, I think, for Purdue. Different Brandon King, right?
Yes. This guy's a little bigger. And he went to Auburn, like you said. And like Mark clarified. Jeez. Boy, have you got any text from HR? I'm nervous. I might turn my phone off.
I can't read my screen because the sun.
Does the glare?
Get the blinds for you?
Yeah, the glare. I can get them, I guess, but I don't know. I like the sun is the problem. You know what I mean? Like I'm enjoying the sunlight, but I can't read my screen.
Stay here anyway.
Well, Mark is now jumping out of said window over there.
It's his last day, he says. The expletive-filled Mark Dighton.
The milk and the cereal must have something laced in it.
What kind of cereal are you going with this morning, Mark?
Booger sugar flakes, I think is what it's called.
Excuse me? Okay.
Last week we talked
about
Apple
Jacks. There's Apple Jacks today.
Those an exported cereal, are they?
The
Columbia's finest.
The Colts hosting Malik Willis, who by some accounts, maybe all accounts, is the top quarterback in this draft class. I'd say probably fair to say has the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks in this draft class, and that the Colts were hosting him on a top 30 visit. It's also been reported by NFL Network that the Colts will be hosting North Carolina quarterback Sam Howell on a top 30 visit. Now, Jake, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. You brought up kind of the smokescreen nature that the Colts could be playing here with this. Where I would probably push back on that is the fact that the top 30, first off, I've never seen the Colts really do this. Bringing, multiple quarterbacks in a draft, multiple high-end quarterbacks, guys that are near the top. The other reason is, and I get it, not a lot of people realize what the top 30 visit means. So every NFL team gets to fly in 30 draft prospects for an in-building, in-person visit. Think of it like a college recruiting visit, official visit. You get to come to the campus, we'll show you around, you meet with our coaches, blah, blah, blah. So there's a little bit of kind of scarcity to these top 30 visits. I don't think you would waste multiple ones on them just purely for smokescreen stuff.
Right.
And it's different than Pro Day, which we should probably mention. I see it always reported, well, did you see the Colts had blah, blah, blah at this player's Pro Day? Well, if you're an area scout, I would hope that you would show up to the North Dakota State. If you're in charge of the Plains in the Big 12, I'd hope you'd show up at North Dakota State's Pro Day. I hope you would show up at so I don't read as much into that. I think the top 30 visits you read a little bit more into. When we talked about Malik Willis, Jake, him in mock drafts, some in the top 10, certainly middle of the first round. Sam Howell's been a name much more early second round. Does that make you think anything more of, man, at pick 42, this might be a long-term guy?
No, I think that's possible, right? I mean, look, they know they're going to have to address the quarterback situation at some point, right? And that's not to say for this year or even next, but Matt Ryan is not going to be here in 4 years. He's not going to, I mean, I know that he says he's going to, but
2 years left on the contract for what it's worth.
And you don't know how much you're going to get out of that, right?
They are very optimistic. Granted, they are optimistic about Anthony Costanzo and Phillip Rivers. But as I've said, the Rivers thing, Rivers had kids that were about to play high school football, and he wanted to coach them. He made that very clear. Matt Ryan's boys are, I think, 4. So it's not unless he's really itching to try out his knuckleball and dad's pitch, I don't think he'd be, wanting to leave for that reason. I'm not trying to diminish, his family and whatnot there. I get that some people wouldn't like this move. Some people want to say, what? They can't draft a quarterback. They need to go wide out. They need to go tight end. They need to go win now. I'm good with it.
If there's one there that is the guy, right, that they can develop, then yes.
Because the last thing you want to be in is in a position 2 years down the road for Matt Ryan to hang it up. Matt Ryan's led you to what, a 10-win season? And now there you are with the 25th overall pick saying, well, we need a quarterback, and where are we going to turn? It's going to be a 1 to 2 year waiting period on any sort of rookie. Like the Colts have admitted, Matt Ryan, it was lucky that he fell into their laps. I think you want to try and make as seamless of a transition. By no means am I saying Sam Howell's a slam dunk, Malik Willis is a slam dunk, but at some point, I think you got to spend a valuable draft pick on this position. And wouldn't you think Matt Ryan would be the ideal guy to kind of groom a rookie QB?
Yeah.
I mean, listen to what Joe Reitz just said about him.
Yeah. Well, that certainly feels like that's the case, that's how he is, right? By the way, Brandon Jacobs, the running back from Purdue, I was trying to think of.
Oh, it's the same name? I was thinking.
I'm sorry. I said Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones is the running back I was trying to think of from Purdue. But that was also 2005. I'm getting old. They all run together, right?
That name doesn't ring a bell for me. Purdue.
Brandon Jones. He was a good player. He was a bigger back.
I liked watching that Horvath kid last year. Seeing him at the pro day yesterday, I'm thinking, I hope the fullback doesn't die in the month or in the NFL, because I feel like Horvath could be a nice little.
One of the things that's intriguing to me just about the draft or pro days or things like that is guys that get taken completely out of position of where they played collegiately or in high school. I mean, Joe Reitz is a prime example, right? I mean, the number of players that people may see and say, he was a fullback in college, but could he be a tight end? Or he was a tight end in college, could he be a fullback in the NFL, even though fullback is kind of an antiquated position. But just guys that can be moved into different positions, I think is always fascinating.
Well, Joe's story, a lot of people, I think, assume college basketball player to tight end.
Right.
Whereas Joe put on a ton of weight, started in Baltimore, went over to Miami for a brief cup of coffee, and then his story here, him and Jack Doyle, both the stories are just
It was a cup of coffee filled with protein powder.
Yeah, a lot. Seriously, he's waking up at 2 a.m., setting his alarm for 2:33 a.m. in the morning,
That's
not
right.
by choice, although he seems like somebody that would do that. So, yeah, I think Hal is an interesting name. Dave, want to talk about Sam Howell, Mark? Dave, welcome to Kevin and Query.
Morning, gentlemen. It's a lovely morning. Have the sunglasses on. It's beautiful out here.
Gorgeous, yeah. Outside of Mark's four-letter expletive, it's been pretty good here.
Yeah. So, Sam Howell, I watch a lot of college football. Sam Howell's a good quarterback, but he's good when he has talent around him like he did in 2020.
I was going to say, didn't they lose a lot?
Yeah, not very good last year in 2021, and actually he's a prototype of Sam Ellinger, except his arm's a little stronger. So I don't know that that's an improvement.
I think before the start of the year, and appreciate the call,
Sam
Dave.
Howell, by the way, out of North Carolina, 6'1" guy.
Yeah.
Last quarterback to come out of North Carolina with expectation, Mitchell Trubisky. That's not to say.
Do you want Mark to cuss again?
I know. I was just going to say.
What are we doing here?
Should have saved it for now.
We're supposed to steer away from that.
Wow. Mark, I've never seen you like this.
I don't know. Mark, it's the nice weather. That's what did it.
I'll give you credit there, Mark, for restraining yourself. That was very, very. Jake literally tried to put it on the tee for you, and unfortunately, you did not go there. Sam Howell, I think before the start of the year, Jake, people thought he was like a sleeper Heisman candidate.
You know who
right?
Sam Howell looks like physically? Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I could see that. Boy,
so
a lot of people are cussing in their cars.
Follows in the footsteps of Mitchell Trubisky and looks like Baker Mayfield. Sign me up.
I was really impressed by him when they played Notre Dame this year. He lost a lot of weapons around him. I thought he was tough as hell in that game. Did you watch any of Clemson? Did Clemson play Carolina this year? I don't know how the ACC schedule works.
You know what? I can't remember if they played him or not. I will say this.
I feel like
because I've watched.
Go to the Clemson Carolina game, or is that a different one?
I've watched Carolina and Clemson so many times over the years. And I know that's. I'm going to sound like the old guy here. The one thing I will say, as Dave points out, a really good point. He's a good player when he has weapons around him, but then like players graduate or just due to attrition, suddenly his roster changes and his stats change. I'm not saying he's the same guy here, but you know who I remember saying that about? The guy that had a really dynamic junior year of college, had great stats, put him on the radar. A lot was expected of him, and then suddenly his senior stats dropped, and so people were like, "Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't throw an accurate ball. His numbers really declined." But you looked at it and you said, "Well, yeah, but all of his weapons had graduated, and that's Josh Allen at Wyoming." I'm not saying he's Josh Allen, but that's exactly what happened with Josh Allen.
I think that's what makes the evaluation of quarterbacks so difficult.
North Carolina did not play Clemson.
I didn't think they did.
They played Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I was impressed. That was a high-scoring game.
44-34.
Yeah, he put up
North Carolina played Clemson the year before, though, right? Because I do recall when they being like, really, this is the guy that like is projected as a top 10 pick?
Doesn't look like they played him last year either.
They're not? Okay.
Pat brings up a good point. Wouldn't that QB plan be better with next year's quarterback class that is significantly higher rated?
That's possible, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Now, again, you can make the argument, okay, how long is Matt Ryan going to play for you? Do you need multiple years
of Stroud
development?
next year? Stroud is technically available,
sure,
right?
CJ Stroud and Bryce Younger next year, Jake, but you've got to trade up to what, 1, 2, or 3 to get them?
I mean,
that is the difference.
Call up Kevin Pritchard and ask him, like, how do you end on a 10-game losing streak and still be interesting?
Well, you put down Malcolm Brogdon is out due to rest, and Myles Turner's going to miss.
Clemson and USC last played in 2019. Clemson was the second-ranked team at the time, won 21-20.
Oh, I remember that game. They went for 2 late, didn't they?
Correct. They went for 2 late in the game. I was on my way to Guns N' Roses in Louisville with my buddy Michael Weir, and we pulled over on the side of the interstate to find out what happened before we went into this concert.
Wait, is that the guy that played in the Masters last week?
Michael Weir, different guy. He's a lead singer for the Elect, but he is the master of the stage. So similar.
Rock a green jacket on stage?
Yeah, always wears it. Does always wear a jacket.
Let's sneak Jeff in. Jeff, want to talk a little Sam Ehlinger on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, fellas. Hey, what round was Sam Ehlinger drafted in?
6th.
6th. Would you have rather had a wide receiver or a wide out or a weapon of any kind instead of him?
No, I was actually good with the Ehlinger pick. I was good with the Jacob Eason pick. I think when you don't have the quarterback, I am totally fine with throwing darts at the board. That position means too much. Now, I don't think they handled Eason in the right way, but if Sam Ehlinger becomes your backup for 5 to 10 years, I'm totally fine with that being your 6th-round pick.
I think it's kind of crazy talk not to at least pick up somebody that is an offensive lineman or a defensive back at that point, instead of trying to groom a 5th or 6th round quarterback for the best position in football.
Okay, here are the receivers that were on the board when they drafted
Thank you, Jeff.
Sam Ehlinger.
I understand where Jeff's coming from, but let's not act like a 6th-round pick is a guaranteed.
Daz Newsome, taken by Mark's Bears in the 6th round, went after. Mike Strawn, drafted by the Colts. Trey Nixon, from Central Florida to the New England Patriots. Kawan Baker to the Saints. Those were the remaining players at receiver available that were drafted. And then obviously
Short had a nice career.
Undrafted free agents.
Yeah, I am I'm totally fine with it. Again, you're not drafting a quarterback in the 4th or 6th round necessarily to say you're going to be our starter. You're trying to groom, you're trying to create some depth in the quarterback room. The Colts have no answer at backup. It's a shot in the dark at any position at that point. Hell, didn't the Colts just have a 6th-round pick retire the other day?
Yeah.
From a few years ago?
And it was like, really? Okay.
I think it was the same draft class.
It didn't necessarily... It had different impact than when Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah, slightly on that. All right, Gary Brackett's going to join us here in about 20 minutes. Let's hit a Big O Tires SportsCenter update.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
All eyes in the NBA now at Indianapolis shift towards the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's because they have the play-in game for the playoffs. They will take on the Brooklyn Nets. If they lose that game, they would then face the winner of the play-in game between Charlotte and who is it Charlotte's playing?
Atlanta.
And if they lose that...
What Cavs cheers should we know for tonight?
C-A-V-S, Cavs.
Nice.
Because your draft pick, we want to have.
Look at that.
Go Cavs, go.
That was really good.
Thank you. If the Cavs win any of their next 2 play-in games, the Pacers will get their 1st round draft pick.
9-point underdog, Cleveland tonight as they are in Brooklyn. No Jared Allen. They're 1-3 on the year against the Nets. We'll see if Karis LeVert can
that'd be
muster up
huge,
some revenge game. Remember what Karis LeVert did here to the Pacers, like his first game back? Whew. That was one of the more lively environments, fourth quarter environments inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse this season. So yes, we are on Cavs playoff watch, therefore potential Pacers draft pick watch here tonight. That is a 7 o'clock tip. Yesterday, we heard from many Pacers players' exit interviews. Mark, if you got the Malcolm Brogdon clip there, we heard from Myles Turner in the first segment. Malcolm Brogdon missed about half the season this year due to a variety of injuries. Here was him on the upcoming offseason.
I want to be here. I feel like I've built a home here. They've paid me here and extended me here, and I fit.
Does he? I like him, but does he?
They've certainly paid him.
That's true, but does he fit? Right?
You know, Rick Carlisle was talking about him a couple weeks ago, Jake, and just raving about him. Called him a game changer, and he's going on and on. Bless you. He's going on. And after about, like, the answer lasts, 30, 40 seconds, and then he ends it with, when he's on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, to steal a phrase from Mark earlier, no bleep, I mean, like, when he's on the floor, that's been the elephant in the room for Malcolm Brogdon's entire, unfortunately, probably dating back to his UVA days, back to his time at Virginia. So I think they've got some decisions to make. We talked about a little briefly about the Russell Westbrook trade rumors. We'll get more into that a little bit later. But exit interviews for the Pacers today. They're free agents this year.
Have you ever had an exit interview anywhere? I usually get the here's your Cobra paperwork.
Yeah, that's usually where I'm at.
Well, we don't usually have off seasons at our jobs. So you don't really need if you're getting an exit interview, usually you're not working there anymore.
My brother-in-law just left the company he was at on his own, and he had an exit interview. I'm like, man, that sounds really cordial.
Wouldn't you, if you were leaving on your own, do people ever just say, like, this place sucks? I hated Mark in accounting. I didn't like Sally in HR. I thought that Brian was an idiot. I mean,
I got a real problem with you, Steve.
Why else are you leaving? Unless somebody else came along and they're paying me a ton. What's the reason here? This has Office Space written all over it, right?
Kings and Lakers, couple openings in the NBA now. Frank Vogel officially gone. Did you see the thank you Frank picture that the Lakers posted yesterday?
Yeah,
holding the trophy.
And the Kings, the Sacramento Kings, now there's reports that players are coming out saying this is the worst place ever and it's toxic. Imagine how those exit interviews are.
Yeah, pray for Sabonis. Juwan Howard to the Lakers. That rumor has started.
Really?
Wouldn't LeBron want him?
Boy. I guess, did they play together probably, right? Or no, Juwan was a coach in Miami when
I
LeBron
feel like
was
Miami
there.
does Udonis Haslam's our Jordan Bohannon walk-on for the 22nd year.
Right.
And Juwan Howard, I feel like, fit that script before. So right now, 2 openings in the NBA. Major League Baseball, Cubs and Pirates starting up. Cardinals hosting the Royals. The Reds hosting the Guardians. Tigers beat the Red Sox yesterday, and the White Sox hosting.
Does it feel weird to you to say
Mariners.
Guardians?
It does.
Now, my question is this. When it comes to the Cleveland Guardians, when referencing Albert Bell or referencing the World Series against the Marlins, do I have to say Guardians, or can I say I remember watching the World Series between the Marlins and the Cleveland Indians?
It probably depends on who you're talking to.
Probably just say Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland's baseball team, which just sounds weird.
Like, did Joe Theismann play for the Commanders?
He played for Washington football team.
Okay. I do think they should have just kept Washington football team. I thought it was cool, sadly.
Joshua goes, Brogdon fits the suit he wears on the bench.
Johnny Bravo, baby.
Half the season of games he misses.
It's going to be Johnny Bravo because he fits the suit.
I don't think the guys are wearing suits anymore, right?
No. Matter of fact, I saw...
Pretty casual.
Correct. The sidelines attire... T.J. McConnell routinely looked like a 7th grade industrial arts teacher on the sidelines.
Oh, I thought at times he looked like a North Central junior at, trying to hit on girls in the lunchroom.
That too.
And Myles Turner, I don't know how you describe some of those outfits.
Do you remember lunchroom junior year high school? I
can vividly picture where I sat.
Honey buns, plate of fries, 2 cookies, unless there was corn dog day, and then it was all corn dogs.
I could vividly remember. where I sat. All right, Gary Brackett going to join us here in about 15 minutes. That's coming up next, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Big O Tires is locally owned and operated with the lowest price on every tire every day, plus online appointment scheduling and financing made easy. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Don't let anyone strike you out and tell you that the VA loan is bad. Get pre-approved for your next refinance or home purchase today at HeroLoan.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you back $5 for every home run hit in that game. I opted in earlier this morning. I put $25 on Javi Baez of the Tigers to go deep against the Red Sox this afternoon. And even if he doesn't go yard, I'll still get $5 for every home run the Tigers and Red Sox combine for. So who are you waiting for? Jump in now on the home run hitter. Took big swings into big wins. Turn your place into a big win. My God, I can't read today. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to swear. Head over to FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code MARK. That's promo code MARK on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Bonus issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply.
Almost
see full
there,
terms
Mark.
at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa is the only hot tub manufacturer on the market today that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Stop into any of our 3 Indianapolis locations today or visit us online at royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Hi, this is Ted Bishop, PGA General Manager at the Legends Golf Club in Franklin. This year, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary of being in business, and I want to personally invite you to become a member at our course, which was selected as the 2021 Indiana Golf Course of the Year. We are offering a limited number of 2-year Monday through Friday memberships starting at $199 a year. Yep, you heard it right, only $199 a year, and you can upgrade to a 7-day membership for only $50 per year more. If you ride, you just pay for the golf cart, and if you walk, there's no additional charge. These memberships will expire on December 31 of 2023. Legends has 27 Fazio Design Championship holes. Our regular players will tell you that we are known for great playing conditions and a friendly staff. Join the Legends Golf Club today. Don't delay, because limited spots are available. Call 317-736-8186 or buy online at thelegendsgolfclub.com. And I'll see you on the first tee.
School is in session.
Seth Greenberg, our good friend. Kay Dunn, you lost to UNC. They've got bragging rights forever. Okay, fine. It's a hell of a year.
Incredible. This isn't best of 7. Right. This is one game. That game had nothing to do with Coach K's legacy. What does it do with his legacy? You know what his legacy is? The guy won 5 national championships with the 13 Final Fours. He set the standard for everything you can accomplish. There'll never be another Coach K.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
As we are halfway home on this installment of Kevin and Query on a Sunsplash Tuesday, for those of you who are just joining us, thank you for doing so. And where have you been? To recap the morning for you, what we have gone over and done. We talked to Joe Reitz earlier, very good conversation that we will have up on the podcast page, just about the thought process of the Colts and where Joe Reitz feels it might be best for the Colts to hone in regarding the draft. We talked about the fact that if you are someone with young children, as both Kevin and Mark are in this town, we might be on the cusp of them having a lot of options in terms of who they root for in basketball, because the Fever had what seemingly would be a very good night last night in the WNBA draft, including a couple of players with Indiana ties, or at least one with an IU tie. And the fact that the women's programs in the area are all on the up and up with bright young coaches, that was very encouraging. We talked about Russell Westbrook possibly being rumored with a Pacers trade, even though I think Kevin and I both agreed that would strictly be because from a financial standpoint, they're one of the few teams that could afford to take him on. And then I
want to get more into that after Brackett, by the way.
And Gary Brackett's going to join us in 10. And then we talked about the fact that we've got to prepare for the swan song for Mark Dykton, who decided to start swearing on the air.
Yep. The Colts signed Brandon King, and hopefully Brendan King will be available to come back and fill in for Mark maybe for the next couple of days.
What do you mean I've got more vacation time? What does that mean?
So that's where we stand. The Russell Westbrook thing
It's a gorgeous Tuesday, nonetheless.
I thought it was supposed to be cloudy today.
I thought the rain was like Monday, Wednesday. And then it's going to get cooler again, but today is a beautiful day. Yeah, the Westbrook thing, Jake, when you see the initial report, and it's from, is it Shams or Shams?
I think it's Shams.
Shams Charania from The Athletic. Him and Woj are kind of the two mega newsbreakers in the NBA. Yes. It reads like this. The Indiana Pacers could emerge as a potential suitor for Westbrook, rival executives believe. Rival executives believe? I mean, Jake, it's not coming from the Westbrook camp. It's not coming from the Pacers camp. Isn't that kind of low on the totem pole to really be running with it?
Here would be my assumption. My assumption would be that other executives, when talking about Russell Westbrook and knowing what his salary cap implication would be, said, Indiana's a team that's got room there.
But is that enough for a credible reporter like
I don't
him
disagree
to run
with
with
you
it a little
on that.
bit? So that was my first kind of aspect to it. Zach Lowe from ESPN mentioned Buddy Hield, Malcolm Brogdon for Russell Westbrook, and 2 first-round picks. Indiana would buy Russell Westbrook out, which is what you mentioned earlier. We'll get more into that again after Gary Brackett. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the Lakers have a first-round pick until Rosie goes to high school.
I think that's right. And Russell Westbrook to me is, look, there was a time, I recall several years ago interviewing Oscar Robertson when Russell Westbrook was about to break Oscar Robertson's career triple-double record. And Oscar Robertson said, and I've always known, I don't know Oscar Robertson well, but in the times being around him, Oscar Robertson's a pretty proud individual. And I fully anticipated Oscar Robertson saying, well, I mean, triple-doubles are scored differently, whatever. And he said, I'm all for it because he's a wonderful player. And the things he's just a dynamic talent. And he was very favorable about him. So clearly he has massive talent, Russell Westbrook. But his game in the last year has fallen off a cliff. I mean, he was pulling up and hitting the sides of backboards and throwing it. I mean, it was like, what in the world? Literally, at times, he looked like watching a guy play basketball who had vertigo.
Or just like watching a football player play basketball.
Totally.
Just like bowling a China shop.
Totally. So, yes, if I personally, I will say this, and maybe I'll be proven to be wrong, although I think that certainly of late my pulse on what the Pacers' mindsets have been has been pretty dialed in, I think, if I may say so. But
I would agree.
I don't believe...
Certainly during the knockout game.
Thank you. I don't believe that they are players for Russell Westbrook, but if they would be, it would entirely be to give themselves some sort of cap flexibility and buy him out and create even...
And he would never play here.
Correct. I don't think we would see him in a uniform here.
And my concern...
There's nothing to be gained by getting him for where the Pacers are right now.
My concern with that is you are the Indiana Pacers. And by that I mean this. We've talked about it. When you are Kevin Pritchard or Chad Buchanan or whoever is making the decisions inside of that building, in this market, the ability to acquire players, it begins with the draft, then second, and I think it's a steep drop to second, trades, and then I think it's a very steep drop from there to free agency. So acquiring Westbrook, opening up all of this cap space, while it would give you some flexibility in the trade market, it's not like you're going to have insert free agent name here and probably multiple of them knocking down your door and saying, oh yeah, I've always wanted to play for the Pacers. This is where I want to sign for 4 years
right.
and 60 some million or certainly more than that. So I look at it and think to myself, the beauty of the Sabonis trade was you moved him and Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb, and you got back a ready-made guy, ready-made with some potential and room to grow, and we saw that in his 30 games here, Tyrese Halliburton. But at the same time, Jake, you also, Buddy Hield, okay, maybe. We'll see. Like, you got actual tangible pieces. The Karis LeVert trade, you have a draft pick. You hope that you have a draft pick. Might be pushed to next year. But those are a little bit more of kind of like actual, I can get my hands on those resources, whereas the cap space, to me, isn't as clearly defined.
This is totally unfair of me to say. Buddy Hield, seemingly, and I watched a little bit, I observed the way Buddy Hield interacted, like when he was checking into the scores table and with his teammates, seemingly a good teammate and a good guy. I didn't see anything to say to the contrary of that. But I feel like Buddy Hield, as a 2 or 3, whichever way you want to put him in the NBA, he is the Ryan Fitzpatrick of that position. He's a perfectly competent player to get you the statistics and to get you to keep you afloat for a year. But if you are building around him at that position as your guy, you're probably a 500 team at best.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a lot of money to just purely stretch the floor.
If you could get him as your...
He can do that.
Kevin, when I think about, like, again, I hate to always go back to teams from 25 years ago, but I think that's the benchmark in this town. The two players, like if you look at, the Pacers had a really good run there, obviously, with the George Hill, David West, Paul George teams, okay? On that particular group, I'm trying to think of who was their like sixth man scorer off the bench guy in that era.
On those conference final teams?
Correct. God, Stevenson was...
I was going to say a little bit of Lance.
Lance was...
Scola. I feel like he kind of came in and helped you. I know he's not necessarily the ideal guy that you would maybe label.
CJ Miles, maybe?
Yeah, CJ Miles.
A role like that I could see. Or like when Byron Scott, the 94-95 Pacer teams that broke through, Byron Scott was a really nice player at that point off the bench for you. Like, I could see Buddy Hield, if the Pacers want to get where they want to be, if they're going to get where they want to be, I could see Buddy Hield being that complementary piece like that. I just don't see him as a starter.
Yeah, and he just makes a ton of money to be kind of isolated.
That's the problem. He's priced out of that, right?
In that role. Watching Hield, though, and watching Halliburton kind of work with them, it was a reminder of like what you can do with some spacing. I was really impressed by Halliburton's numbers, ascending here, and the efficiency numbers really ascending as well. You would think the more that he is on the ball, the more he's handling the ball, you would maybe see some of the shooting numbers dip a little bit from a percentage standpoint. He's just being asked to do more. I think we see that with Malcolm Brogdon at times. You put more on his plate, and some of that efficiency just, dwindles a little bit. We really didn't see that from Halliburton. He played a similar amount of minutes here in Indy that he did in Sacramento, but he certainly handled it a lot more, and I was really impressed from that sense. But, in terms of free agents, Jake, the questions about Buddy Hield and Malcolm Brogdon, Myles Turner, those are all questions about guys that are already under contract. Your free agents are TJ Warren, which, you can't give him anything of substance. He hasn't played basketball in 2 years.
Right. That's
Jalen
true.
Smith, you're obviously handcuffed when what you can do with him.
I like that dude, man.
And then Rubio, you would assume, is gone. That's coming off your books as well. So Lance would be the other one, and we can get more into that a little bit later. But it's not like they have a lot of free agent decisions. It's more of like, all right, the Turner injury history, the Brogdon injury history, Buddy Hield at that price. What do you do with them? All right, we come back here on Kevin and Query. Gary Brackett is going to join us next. 93.5-107.5, The Fan.
It takes courage to talk with that someone special when there are problems in the bedroom. Erectile dysfunction, or PE, can shatter your confidence and make your relationship challenging. You can put an end to these issues. Have the courage to make just one confidential visit to the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and get that spark back in your relationship. The doctors at the Indianapolis Men's Clinic offer the latest solutions for all ED and PE issues, and you'll see results in your first visit, or there's no charge. Call 999-9000 to meet with their licensed providers, no matter your age or your conditions. Diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate cancer, low testosterone causing your issue. It doesn't matter. They can help. Call the Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 999-9000. That's 999-9000, or online at indymensclinic.com. Have the courage to take that first step. Indianapolis Men's Clinic, your key to a better life.
The Fed has raised rates, but Golden Oak Lending still has millions of dollars available at near record low rates. Golden Oak Lending is the place to go to help you in the saving money category. They're ready to help us right now and get you refinanced today. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers make refinancing a buy-in a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon or numbers. Even if you haven't done anything to your house, your home's values increase in the last year alone, giving you the opportunity to use that equity to finish your home project, pay off credit cards, or even consolidate bills. You can find out how much you could save with Zipline. That is Golden Oak Lending's fast and easy online mortgage tool. The average cash-out customer saves around $900 a month. So no matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937, 3.75% fix, 4.88% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Mother's Day will be here soon. Come to Shane Company for a beautiful gift of fine jewelry. Your gift will be a love note, a thank you, a recognition of everything Mom does without expecting anything in return.
For holding me close and drying my tears, for tying my shoes and calming my fears,
for making us pancakes and planning our days.
You're the very best mom in so many ways.
Your gift to Mom will remind her of your love. And at Shane Company, we have many ways to create a personalized gift. You can have a special message inscribed on an engravable style, or create a one-of-a-kind necklace stacked with meaningful charms. We can also help you create a ring or a necklace with birthstones to represent each family member. Or pick her favorite colors. Your Mother's Day gift will be a love note, something beautiful that she can wear every day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program, featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today to get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Right now, get up to 60% off store-wide. Styles start at just $8, including tops from 8 and jeans from just $14. Hurry to Old Navy and OldNavy.com for up to 60% off store-wide now. Valid 4/5 through 4/17. Select styles only.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
You're listening to
to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Been a fun Tuesday morning so far on Kevin and Query. We had Joe Reitz on earlier, and we'll continue our former Colts player segment. Gary Brackett is on the Payless Liquors hotline right now. And Gary, before we get to current Colt things, former Colt things, an update on you, you guys are going to be busy tonight with an event with the NFL Alumni Health hosting a COVID-19 vaccination town hall. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of questions are still, out there about COVID-19. Is it gone for good? What happened to it? And should you or should not still continue with the vaccines? And we want to have a town hall meeting tonight and answer some of those questions and ultimately just inform people on their decision-making and what they should do in their process of making a wise decision for their families.
And with that, Gary, I hate to say, can you give us a preview of what will be said? But, have you gotten, I know that you're going to be there with a number of different medical professionals from Anthem and from the State Health Commission. I would assume that they're going to be there to say, look, let's still be diligent about this, but is that a fair expectation of what would be said?
I'm not sure what they're going to say, right? I think the information is constantly changing and updating, and for me, I like to have updated information. And I think so many people, unfortunately, if they're not staying up on it and the current trends and what's occurring and the new variants, they may make a decision that's outdated. So I'm always big fan of, being in the know in terms of what's happening, especially as it pertains to my body and taking care of my family.
He's Gary Brackett, and he is with us today on Kevin and Query. Gary, we had Joe Reitz on earlier, like I mentioned, kind of asked him his thoughts on what he's seen from the Colts offseason so far, the trade for Yannick Ngakoue, Matt Ryan as well. Outside of that, it's been pretty quiet on the free agent front, but from afar, what have your thoughts been, along with seeing two of your, I think, close friends get back into the coaching ranks as well?
Man, I think I'm more excited about Cato June coming in as the outside linebacker coach and Reggie Raines. I think the Thursday dinners are officially back on. We had this tradition where every Thursday went out to dinner. So extremely excited about that. But, yeah, when you look at Matt Ryan, proven leader, someone who was a former NFL MVP, obviously, he has a lot of, mileage on his arms, right? But I think in the short term, I think he'll do a great job of managing the game and putting us in, opportunities we can win to be successful.
Gary, do you think that for players where football came naturally to them, and I'm not saying football comes naturally to those guys. I don't know. I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. But for a Cato June or a Reggie Wayne, do you think it would be a challenge? Would it be a challenge for Gary Brackett, for that matter, to coach when things that were natural to you to have to grasp the fact that to other players that isn't natural? You know what I mean? Like the natural instinct, the natural timing that comes with your position. Is it hard to coach that to other guys or to assume that other guys have instilled in them what was natural to you?
So I just talk about myself. So I coach my son in football, right? He's now in fourth grade. I coached him, since he is in first grade. And communicating at that age, from what I know to where they're at, it initially was extremely challenging because what came second nature to me was foreign to them. So for me, it's just talking about the basics and the fundamentals. And the biggest thing, I think, were veteran players that are coaches, they have the opportunities to really share from their own experiences. And I think, when they do it from that approach, when they say, I know what you're going through, I've been there, like they actually been there. So I think it's just a lot more unique. And both Cato and Reggie, just because I know them, they're two of my best friends, I know how highly qualified they are for their roles and their jobs. And I know that they're great coaches, great men. And not only they're going to help them on the football field, being great, phenomenal football players, but also outside as great community guys and great leaders. So I think it's a twofold with both those individuals.
Colts Super Bowl winner, former captain on that team, Gary Brackett, is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. I'm kind of curious, Gary, your conversations with Cato and Reggie, over the years. Cato has had, long coaching history. Reggie, it's been much, much different. Did you think that this was kind of the end goal for both of them at various points, or when did it hit you like, man, I'm sitting here looking around this locker room, and if I had to pick a couple guys out of here that would become NFL coaches, Cato June and Reggie Wayne would be, atop the list?
Yeah, no question. Both those guys are extremely passionate about the game of football. And when you're passionate about it, you just want to be around it in any way that you can. I mean, Cato's journey is a lot different than Reggie's, like you mentioned. He's been coaching, I think, almost since he left football in a head coach capacity in high school, then, various different college jobs. So he's someone who understands the grind and what it takes to coach at this level. Reggie just has a great knack for his position. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame player. So I think with those credentials, where people just come to think it just came second nature to him, but it didn't. He worked extremely hard in his craft, and not only was he talented, but he was extremely smart. And I think that's where he's going to be able to bring inside that locker room, because he was a student of the game, understands, what coverages the defenses are in, and what that means for a wide receiver, and what he needs to do to get open and kind of help out his quarterback.
Gary Brackett is our guest. He's on the Payless Liquors guest line. He is part of a town hall meeting taking place with the NFL Alumni Health tonight. As a matter of fact, it can be all be found. What time does everything get underway, Gary? I know that the Alumni Facebook and YouTube channels is where people can register and submit questions. What time does everything get underway tonight?
Yeah, tonight starts at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And you can go on there, register, ask questions, and, there are going to be some professionals that be able to inform you exactly, where we stand now and how you can make a good decision for your family.
Gary, I know that, listen, you are a beloved player and figure in Indianapolis, and you're somebody that, I've known from a professional standpoint, certainly over the course of years. And COVID is something that was not kind to you, obviously, in terms of your business and stacked pickle, because, we were shut down during a pandemic, and we know what that meant for you from a business standpoint. It's been well documented how that affected you, personally speaking. And I think that as a city, I speak for a lot of people, and I don't mean this condescendingly, Gary, at all. I hope it doesn't come off that way, but just to simply ask how you are doing, because you're a guy that has always been an underdog. You're a guy that's always overcome challenges, but even with that, challenges seem to continue to come your way, unfortunately. How are you?
That's a great question, and I get a lot of fan mail, and a lot of people reaching out to me. But like you said, man, I've been an underdog my whole life, and with the pandemic, I was affected by it. My business, there was a lot of other business owners affected by it, and for me, that's just life, right? And I use it as lessons to motivate me, to encourage me to continue to do and be grateful for what times when life is good and you do have, kind of what you dream for. So for me, I take everything in perspective. The money, the fame, whatever, it never really defined me and who I am. So as a character, I'm still in a very great place, actually even better place, just because I had time to really sit and think and discover, who I am, and more importantly, who I want to be for the rest of my life. So now, doing extremely well, coaching other businesses on things that I wish I would have known when I was growing my small business, and also speaking professionally, writing books. But more than anything, the freedom and the time that I have to do what I love, to be involved in my kids, activities, schools. So I think that's what matters most to me. But I'm actually doing phenomenal. And tough times, but that's what people are built for sometimes.
Was there ever a period, Gary, where you thought to yourself, listen, I know that there has to be a reason I'm being challenged, but I've answered all those. Why am I still being tested?
No, I think, some people think that when they pass the test, like they don't have any more tests to pass. And that's never been my thought process. I know, no matter how far you get, how much you obtain, like challenges are always going to be present. And some people think that they shouldn't have challenges, and that's why when one comes, it kind of defeats them. But for me, I'm always on guard. I always know that, at any potential moment, something bad can occur. So that's why I'm just diligent about what I do. I'm very focused and intentional about my days, my workout regimens, how I study. So for me, it's just like, I think Bill Poley once said, think about, adversity and also to come up with ways on how you're going to handle it and how you're going to overcome it. So for me, it's just like, fall 7 times, stand up 8. I don't think there's nothing that can happen to me that I won't be able to withstand, overcome, and come out better the other side. Gary, I know Bob Kravitz wrote a story on your situation right now and just kind of the educational outlook that you've taken through all of this on The Athletic for those that have missed it. It was a couple weeks ago. And I thought the anecdote at the end about you filing for bankruptcy, having to sell off your Super Bowl ring, and the Jim Irsay aspect to that was kind of shows you the type of human that Jim Irsay is. If you don't mind sharing what Jim Irsay has done or maybe is already did. Yeah. I mean, so the ring process, right, is very misleading. The whole Gary Brackett is selling his Super Bowl ring. I mean, how it read, like I was sitting on the corner, just doing extremely bad. And the situation was, when I filed, I had the opportunity to buy my stuff back, and they wanted me to pay 3 times the value of the rings. And at the time, that just didn't make any logical sense for me. So I knew where I got the rings from, and I knew I could repurchase the rings. So obviously, Mr. Irsay was involved in the bid, trying to purchase them to get them back. And obviously, if you read the story, his thing was like, hey, I'm going to make sure Gary is good and has a Super Bowl ring. And just as a testament to him, his family, as a leader, and, always had the utmost respect for him. But, things like that is why, in my opinion, he's just the best owner in the game. So tonight, NFL Alumni Health.org, and appreciate you sharing that with us, Gary. Again, it is a COVID-19 vaccination town hall. You've got NFL alumni players. You're going to have some doctors and public health experts as well, and they'll be doing this 7 o'clock tonight. NFL Alumni Health.org is where you can find links to that. Gary, much appreciated everything that you've chatted with us about over the last 10 or 15 minutes, and good luck tonight, and we'll be tuning in. All right, man. Appreciate it. You guys take care. That's Gary Brackett right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. 9 o'clock hour coming up. If you missed it, Gary Brackett and Joe Reitz. Those will be on the podcast a little bit later. Kevin and Corey, 93.5 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Back in the fold as the head coach of the Butler Bulldogs, Thad Matta. How much of that time you spent away from the game, Thad, do you think that you were just done with coaching in general?
I don't think I ever thought in my mind I was done. This year being down there at IU kind of sparked a little hunger that, like, hey, I think I definitely want to do this again. And this is obviously the perfect situation for Thad Matta.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Big O Tires is locally owned and operated with the lowest price on every tire every day, plus online appointment scheduling and financing made easy. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 3.75% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 3.75% fixed, 4.88% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
How about this weather? Longer days, warmer weather. This is the time of year we need to be outside enjoying life. Well, it is time to call QC Kinetics. If you're dealing with joint pain, QC Kinetics is helping people all over America to get real, lasting pain relief. They use highly concentrated, cutting-edge, natural biologic treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue, getting to the root of the pain. It's life-changing. You get back to moving like you used to with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. If you have nagging pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, and you're done with steroids and pain meds, then you call QC Kinetics. They're telling you surgery is your next option. You don't have to do it. You can call QC Kinetics for a free consultation and get a free second opinion and learn more about these amazing natural biologic treatments. Enjoy this time of year doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics 463-235-7160. It's now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. Again, that is 463-235-7160.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Join me today. We're going to talk some NFL, man. The draft is coming up, free agency. Also, NBA playoffs are starting without the Pacers, but that's all right. We'll talk to Chappie tomorrow. Join me. NFL Talk.
It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I really did think it was supposed to be cloudy today.
No, I think this is the sandwich day. This is the day. It's our peanut butter and jelly.
Really? Do you like peanut butter and jelly?
Love.
Who doesn't?
Oh, I know. My buddy Eldon Wheeler that I worked with at Channel 6 never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he told me that on his deathbed he's going to have them serve him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on like a silver platter. And I said, Eldon, here's the thing, though.
Does that make sense?
Well, like he's going to have, like, if he's, assuming that he knows when he's on his deathbed, right? As an old man, he said, and I'm going to have him, that's how Eldon talked, I'm going to have him bring it out to me. And so I said, well, here's the problem. If your last meal is going to be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if you hate it, you're going out off of something you hate. And if you loved it, you're immediately creating a life worth of regret that you never had it before. And he was like, I never thought of it that way. You go the grape jelly or strawberry jelly?
Great perspective there from you.
Thanks.
Yes, grape. I'm actually running low. I do a peanut butter and jelly English muffin every morning before I come in.
Preserves or jam?
I think jam.
What if he has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and he makes a full recovery?
Uncrustables
he's
for
like,
life.
This is my last meal. And then he's like, oh, wait, I guess I'll have steak on Friday.
Wouldn't you have, wait a minute, if you're laying there and you're on your deathbed.
Take me off.
If all of a sudden you perk up and you're fine, wouldn't you eat peanut butter and jelly the rest of your life?
Oh, yeah. I got a tea time Thursday morning.
Right.
Then suddenly you're good to go.
And now the boys tonight.
Yeah. Good. That's a good point. Eldon is the same guy, by the way. Now, this is fascinating. He, in his free time, when he drives past a fast food restaurant, he parks and then he walks underneath the drive-through window when there's nobody there and picks up the loose change that is dropped. Now, this is the debit card has really put a damper in his business. But Eldon every year would take his entire family to Holiday World with money that he had accumulated over the course of the year by picking up loose change that people had dropped during the pay process at drive-through windows. He's a rather eccentric fellow.
Free soft drinks and
right
sunscreen.
up your alley, I feel
right
like.
there. Yeah, I can see why you and Eldon got along so well. Thank you again to Joe Reitz and Gary Brackett for coming on the show. Mark will have those up on the podcast. Yesterday, Jake, Pacers exit interviews. It was the first time we heard Myles Turner talk in several months. We've mentioned Turner, one more year left on his contract. He missed, about half the season. If you look at the last 2 years, Jake, it's a little worrisome. He's missed about half the games with feet issues.
And there were signs of that coming in is the problem, right?
Yeah, there were some questions about his stride, his gait coming out of Texas. And really, I think he'd been relatively healthy until the last couple of years. But what I thought was interesting is the trade for Sabonis was a message to Myles Turner in a way and saying, all right, here you go. Here's keys to being the lone big on the floor. And when you watch this team play defense pretty much all season long, but certainly for the last couple of months, to say they sorely miss Myles Turner would be an understatement. When I look at this offseason, Jake, the most important part of the offseason is obviously hitting a home run on whatever pick you get in the single digits. Home run, grand slam, whatever you want to call it. That's the most important part. To me, the second most important part is hitting on Myles Turner. And if that means you extend him, you need to have him be healthy. You need to have him be 14-8 and protecting the rim at a high level moving forward, because as much as Goga maybe showed a couple more flashes, I don't think you look at Goga and think he's a starting center
on a playoff team.
I
would agree with that.
So more so than Brogdon, more so than Heald, more so than the 18th, 17th pick. If you get that pick from Cleveland, you have got to have Myles Turner either be an answer for you, or Jake, you make some substantial move with him, and therefore maybe that early draft pick becomes Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, whatever big you want to slot in there.
This is where I see, and where I actually think the Pacers see Myles Turner. If you look at their roster moving forward, Tyrese Halliburton as your primary point, okay? I don't know whether that includes Malcolm Brogdon. Let's say you get a Jaden Ivey, okay? I really like, Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Jackson, I mean. I always screw that up. Isaiah Jackson, who I think is
vice president.
No
Isaiah
kidding.
Washington.
I think Isaiah Jackson is a key piece in their future. I really do.
But not a starting five.
No, I think he could be a starting 5 player.
Really? That even though he's only 6'9", 6'10"?
He would be like at a power forward in today's day, right? Then you've got to have, your backup there is probably, if you were to maintain him, which I don't think they're going to be able to, but stick Smith right behind him, okay? If you had a Halliburton, an Ivy, Isaiah Jackson, and Myles Turner's on the floor, and you would need another shooter, whether that's Buddy Hield or someone else. But I think what the Pacers envision is that Myles Turner, then you are saying to him, when Myles Turner was the last 5 years, Myles Turner has been, aside from Domas Sabonis, asked to score a lot or asked to be a part of their offense from a scoring standpoint. I think what they ultimately would love to do would be for Myles Turner to be a rim protector, primary responsibility. Secondary responsibility is rebounder and facilitating pace on offense by getting a rebound defensively and outletting it to a Halliburton or a Stevenson or whoever it may be, and you're off and running. And then instead of plodding down half-court sets, throwing it into Sabonis and everything coming to a stop, and I love Domas Sabonis' talent, don't get me wrong, but when the ball is going into him, you're now going into a half-court game. I think Indiana wants to run a faster pace than that, predicated on Turner's defense, where then he comes down and through quick ball movement on the exterior, he then, as he is the last to arrive on the scene, is a spot-up three-point shooter. And that's his only offensive role. I really do think that. I know that sounds crazy, but in today's NBA, I think they rely on the athleticism of Isaiah Jackson down low, and Turner is the guy that gets everything going with his defense.
Worry that I have with Turner is this, Jake. He said yesterday, and Scott Agnes had a great rundown on these exit interview comments, and he'll join us as usual every Thursday here because there's a whole lot to get to with Scott and Rick Carlisle's, I guess, disagreement, whatever you want to call it, last week as well. But Turner mentioned yesterday that the stress reaction in his foot, not a stress fracture, stress reaction, they caught early enough that he feels like it potentially saved his career. That is a scary phrase to hear. And with him due for an extension this offseason, considering you've already given one to Malcolm Brogdon, can you give one to Turner? You've already invested a whole lot of money in an off-injured player in Brogdon.
Right.
Now, I don't know, maybe you're going to trade him, but all of a sudden, if you shell out that money for Turner...
Turner right now, though, his contract is rather affordable.
Yeah, it's fine now, but I think most players are looking for an extension going into the last year of their deal. Plus, if you're the Pacers and you're entertaining the thought of trading him, you would probably extend him just because that would give you a little bit more leverage in trying to get something back in return. If you're trading a guy that's going into a contract year, an opposing team could look at that as an expiring contract and say, well, we don't even have him on team control for the next few years. We're not going to get him back. So whatever decision they make on Turner, I just think there's so many layers to it And to me, it's the most important decision of the offseason, what you do with your single-digit pick. Because you don't have Sabonis buffer anymore on the roster to where, oh yeah, you can move Turner, you still got a big guy. And I know Sabonis and him weren't the same player, but you still had that. It was crazy to me to read Scott's piece yesterday, and you know who the second longest tenured Pacer is? Turner obviously being the first.
Brogdon? Hold on. McConnell, yeah.
He had Goga.
Oh, yeah, okay. That would make sense.
I mean, think about that. Like the state of the franchise that, that's kind of where you're at right now.
But let me ask you this. So, when you're looking at all of those players, like I don't see Brogdon long-term in their plans at this point.
So you think he's moved this offseason?
I do. I have nothing to base that on. That's just gut.
Zach Lowe threw him into that Westbrook trade.
If they're getting Westbrook, it's not for any contribution on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was Buddy Hield and Brogdon for Russell Westbrook and then 2 first-round picks. But I'll go back to what I said earlier. The Lakers don't have a first-round pick until 2027. Why would the Pacers do that? Who knows what the Lakers could look like in 2027? Let alone, Jay, what are you going to be doing in 2027? You think they'll be on their 5th different morning show after us, you think?
Well, I would have said that it'd be the Mark Dykton show till this morning when he started dropping expletives.
No, satellite radio, probably. That's where I'll thrive.
Right?
Maybe our 11 o'clock meeting today will turn into, actually, I don't need you guys. I just need Mark.
That's right.
Bring your key card, sir. Uh-oh.
Well,
yeah,
they just gave us these. I don't remember ordering the little computer bag.
Whoa, are you going to rock that? That does not look like a Jake Query piece of apparel. Can you show the YouTube audience that?
Did you got one too, didn't you?
No, I just got a sweatshirt.
I got a sweatshirt too.
Yeah.
There was a bag. Did I not order this?
I guess you did.
Did you steal that from someone?
Is that would you call that a briefcase bag?
It's just a little computer bag, a little laptop bag, right?
Now, with a satchel attached to it, do you throw that over your shoulder? And
Joy Behar wears one of these.
You can wear that when you're in the cemeteries in Barber.
Indiana Jones does too.
It's got a MacBook in there, so I'm assuming it's not yours.
I mean, so I got that
and a booklet of how to work it, which
the sweatshirt's cool.
I do like the sweatshirt,
but I don't know.
Scotty's wearing it.
Of course, Scotty's got the brand new sweatshirt. This is better than the last place I worked, where they gave us at the holiday time. I wasn't able to go to the holiday party because it was from 3 to 7 for the 9th year in a row, which was the radio show I was on.
That's awkward.
And so they gave us sweatshirts from the radio station that was defunct within the building, and for a band. I got a Green Day sweatshirt. Now, what am I supposed to do with that?
Oh, my brother loved Green Day.
Well, I got a sweatshirt if you want to give it to him.
That could be,
Happy holidays.
He just had
Green
a
Day
birthday.
shirt.
But yeah, maybe I'll throw that in there for Christmas.
You guys sure you weren't working part-time at Hot Topic?
That's pretty much what it felt like, yeah.
You think we've seen the last of Lance in a Pacers uniform? He's a free agent.
No, I think there's a chance he's back. This is the only place that works for him, right?
Does Carlisle like him?
I think he does. That's a good question. I think that they know that he brings an energy level that is kind of important to him. You got to have a little crazy, right?
Yeah, you do. Can I bring him back, though, but not necessarily give him minutes every night? Is that good? I mean, he's going to be 32, Jake. I thought at times this year, sure, he ignited the crowd and there's a spark.
No, you're right. I know exactly what you're saying.
Does Lance need to be your second guy off the bench?
It's hard to argue that. And there are also times where he was pretty unreliable in terms of you didn't know, was he doing... For every time that he hits a 3 and strums the guitar, there are 2 times where you're like, what did he just do? That had nothing to do with what they wanted to do.
I think Sunday in Brooklyn, he was shimmying when they were down 15 after a bucket.
Okay.
I'm like, well, at least Michael Grady's happy about that, giving some entertainment to Grady. We need the Fighting Gradys to lose tonight if you want the Pacers to get that pick.
You need Cleveland to win one of their next 2 games.
David tweeted at us, he goes, is it true if the Cavs don't make the playoffs, then that first turns into 2 second-round picks?
Yes
David,
and no.
Yeah, yes and no. It is a 2-year cycle. So I know we've talked about this a lot, but just for clarity's sake, one final time. going into tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers play a play-in game. If they make the playoffs, a.k.a. win tonight or win Friday, they'll get 2 cracks at it. That pick sent to Indiana. If they lose both of those games, they retain their pick, and the same parameters apply to next year. It's the same ordeal next year. If Cleveland makes the playoffs, Indiana gets the first-round pick. If they don't make the playoffs, then the first-round lottery-protected pick that Cleveland currently has that could go to Indiana would turn into 2 second-round picks.
Now, the one thing I'm curious about, the 2 second-round picks, how does that happen? Do they have 2 second-round picks already?
You would think they have to,
or do they create
right?
a second-round pick? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. You would think they have to.
They must, yeah.
I always think about that, like, when the Colts had that Carson Wentz pick. You know, it could be a second-rounder, it could be a first-rounder. Like, if you trade that, you know, like
right.
what's, you know, how does that work? I guess you just take on
Carson
the same
Wentz is staying in Indianapolis. Did you know that?
For
residence.
Next fall?
Yes, he's not moving to Washington.
Wow. Jeez.
As of now, staying here, keeping his home.
It's quite the commute.
Especially with like 2 young girls. It's not like the kids are in school here.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
He's got a nice property up in the Boone County area.
Daddy, why are you leaving for work? Why are you leaving on Wednesday? Well, I got to drive to work. I got a game on
Is that
Sunday.
Carson Wentz saying I'm not going to be long in Washington?
I don't know. Does he stop in West Virginia for some coffee on the way to work every morning?
Big gallon, like trucker coffee mugs.
Like a regional airport in Lebanon, and he just flies over there to Washington. Matt Ryan in town this week. The Colts will start their offseason program in 6 days. That is Monday. That is a very important time of year. Chris Ballard and Frank Reich have not shied away from talking about that, so we'll preview that here in the coming days. All right, pop quiz time coming up in 10 minutes. Golden Gloves tickets we are giving away. Again, the prelims.
And we're giving them away, all right. Have you seen these questions?
Well, yesterday you thought it was easy. Today it's another level?
No, today's like, you know, what is the nickname of the Chicago NBA franchise? A, the Heifers. B, the Bulls. C, I mean, come on.
Scotty, you want to...
What is going on?
So that's no hints then today,
Scotty's
right?
laughing like
easy.
Scotty's laughing like Chris Ballard's laughing at me in the corner there.
Okay, I will
offer
offer hints to the last 2 questions.
Well, that's 40%
Might be
of
the most
quiz.
important ones.
I'm just telling you.
Golden Glove State Tournament, 6 nights of action-packed amateur boxing. Again, it's every Thursday between now and May 12th. May 12th is the championship night. 4-pack, right, Mark?
Yep.
We're giving away a 4-pack.
For this Thursday.
For this Thursday with the pop quiz. Let's hit a Big O Tires SportsCenter update.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Scotty, scale 1 to 10, how easy?
Oh.
Wow, he disagrees with Jake. He says a 5.
Okay.
Jake, what would you say?
7.
Oh. The scale's all off then.
Scotty's already pacing, by the way.
Active night for the Indiana Fever. It looks like kind of an expansion team now. All of a sudden, they spent all 4 of their picks in the top 10. What, they get 2 people from Baylor, Stanford, and Louisville?
Yeah, then later went out and, you know, hey, we'll just dip into South Carolina.
And IU's point guard,
And
Ali
Indiana.
Patberg,
Yeah.
as well. So they certainly had which I guess makes sense. You know, when you've lost as much as they have over the last handful of years, they've whiffed on some high picks. I think one of them was from Baylor, though. The other one from West Virginia. I think it makes sense to get proven winners in the collegiate ranks to try and rebuild things.
And congratulations, IUPUI getting somebody drafted in the WNBA, which is cool.
Yeah, I hope I'm saying her name right. Macy Williams, I believe, heading to, I think, Phoenix?
Phoenix? Yeah, I think it was Phoenix.
So, yeah, shout out to them. Last night, the WNBA draft. And then tonight, we'll get things started in the NBA play-in. You'll have play-in games tonight and tomorrow.
They didn't give out hats, I don't think, at the WNBA draft. I watched a lot of it, actually. I
Really?
didn't see the hats. It's my favorite part of the draft is the hats.
Well, the NBA, it's kind of weird. You wear a hat, and then you're not wearing the right one because your rights have been traded to another team.
That's the best. Kobe Bryant wearing a Hornets hat.
Is it Kobe for Vlade?
Vlade Divac, that's correct.
Kobe was kind of a late pick, wasn't he?
16th, maybe, something like that. But he had also told several teams, no way I'm playing for you. He refused to work out with the Pacers.
Really?
Yeah. So it was everybody kind of knew where he was going.
Who'd the Pacers take? Eric Dampier?
That is an excellent question in that draft. I'm going to go with Eric Piatkowski. That's a guess. Scotty is chuckling to himself. We shall check to see if that was correct.
Jake gave us some Cleveland Cavaliers chance earlier in the show. They are a 9-point underdog. That game is at 7 o'clock tonight. Again, the Cavs taking on the Nets. If you're a Pacers fan, you want that first-round pick, you want Karis LeVert and the Cavs to win.
Eric Dampier.
Ooh!
Nice.
Gosh.
10th overall.
I need to go right to winner's circle.
Kobe Bryant, 13th overall. Steve Nash, 15th. Jermaine O'Neal, 17th.
How about right before Kobe Bryant, Vitaly Potapenko?
Who was the number 1 overall pick in that draft, do you know? 1996?
Did Nash and Vince Carter.
Allen Robinson.
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson, what did I say? Allen Robinson?
Boy.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to swear again. I'm going to swear again.
Man, we got to get Mark to 10 o'clock. We just got it. This is Mark, survive in advance. This
what
is
did you have?
That would be amazing, though. If Allen Robinson was drafted in the 1996 draft and he's still playing in the NFL.
You know, I thought Allen Houston is who you were saying.
How about this draft? You got Allen Iverson, Marcus Camby, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. People forget Sharif Abdul-Rahim was really good. Stephon Marbury, Ray Allen, Antoine Walker, Lorenzen Wright, the late Lorenzen Wright, Kerry Kittles, Samaki Walker, and Eric Dampier. Now, when people talk about Eric Dampier, everybody mentions what would have happened in the NBA Finals in 2000 if the Pacers still had Antonio Davis because they had the, going against Shaq. What if they'd had Dampier? They traded Dampier for the rights to Chris Mullin. Mullin was really good in 98, but by 2000, Mullin was...
Hey, was anybody stopping Shaq?
True. Yes.
Middle of that draft, though, was still crazy.
6 more fouls you could have used.
Kobe Bryant, 13th. Peja Stojakovic, 14th. Steve Nash, 15th. Jermaine O'Neal, 17th. Zydrunas Ilgauskas at 20. I mean, there were some names.
Man, think about that. 2 high schoolers in the teens that turned into, obviously Kobe turned into one of the greatest, and Jermaine O'Neal.
Now, who's this
Derek
fella?
Fisher, 24th.
Who's this fella, 23rd? Are you looking at 23rd?
Oh, man, that would make me swear. I think that's a cuss word on there. Epithemios Renzias?
Of Greece.
I think I said that right.
He played in 35 games and scored 1.5 points. Now, when he scored that 0.5 points, that was crazy.
Did you see Butler got a transfer from Akron?
He's zipped on over?
Ali.
Yes, I did see that. And you know what's funny is I saw people were like...
Averages 14 a game from Fort Wayne.
And people were like, this is, wow, like this is amazing. And I'm like, he's averaging 14 a game in the MAC, right?
Akron made the tournament.
I know.
We buried the lead yesterday. Did you see that one of the former Peacocks found a new home? Doug
Yes,
Bryant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jake, and Ali, the other team's interested in him. Arkansas, Memphis, USC, Tennessee.
Okay.
I mean, Butler needs some significant reinforcements.
Is it Ali or Ali?
Yeah, that's a great question. Hope his family is not.
Do you remember the
listening.
Duaneys?
Oh, sure.
So when I was in Bloomington at IU was when Queth Duaney was in high school.
Queth, Bill, and wasn't there one more?
Duaney. So Duaney is the oldest. And, by custom, and I can't remember, their father was a professor at IU. And so by custom, the eldest takes the last name as a first name. So it was Duaney.
And he played Wisconsin?
Wisconsin, correct. Nice player. And then Queth Duaney won a national title with Carmelo at Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then
started.
I hate to say funny. It always tickled me, though, that you have Duaney and Queth, and then the third one's name was Bill.
I actually ran into Bill a couple times. Nice
guy, too.
I think he's coaching.
Nice family.
Yeah. Were they Bloomington North?
Bloomington North, yep.
Gosh, talk about things I didn't think we'd hit on today. Major League Baseball, Cubs and Pirates starting up. Cardinals, Royals, Reds hosting the Guardians. Are we already doing interleague?
Battle of Ohio.
7 interleague games, Scotty J says. Tigers beat the Red Sox yesterday. White Sox hosting the Mariners. Decent weather for the Midwest. Cardinals were postponed yesterday.
Scotty's pacing nervously, questioning himself on the ease of this pop quiz.
It is pop quiz time. Jake Query's called it easy. Give us a ring, 317-239-1070. But then did you backtrack a little bit and said the first 3 are easy and the last 2 are hard?
I'm telling you, giving stuff away today.
You said it was easy, and then I said scale 1 to 10. You said 7. That's not easy.
No. 7 on easiness.
Oh, see, I was going 1 to easiest.
Okay, then
10 hardest.
Then 3 in difficulty.
Okay.
Again, we're talking to the guy right now in the heat of, finals week's got to be coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. Been eating a lot of mac and cheese this week, Kevin.
A lot of PB&J as Jake almost topples over in his
Would
chair.
I get workman's comp if this chair, because it's got a busted wheel, breaks and I fall backwards?
Yes.
So SpaghettiOs is not the brain food for the college finals. It's mac and cheese and Diet Mountain Dew. God, you are a college student, no doubt.
You tap my IV and Shep Boyardee comes out.
They did not invite him to spring break, but he certainly is prepared like a college
Guy,
student.
Salton takes off the roof. How many ramen noodles are you chugging, sir?
317-239-1070. Pop quiz time.
Well, we had to wait a few extra weeks, but baseball is officially back. Apply online today for your next home purchase at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Can't call into a show because you're sitting at a desk at work? Join us on our YouTube live chat during the shows and leave a comment to see if your host singles out your topic you want discussed.
You want to do your own lawn care and pest control, but you're not sure you can get pro results? You can with DoMyOwn.com. They have pro products, the pro knowledge, and pro support you need to use them. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you.
You know, I don't think we've seen a more wide open NBA race, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, this late in the season. I was looking yesterday, and the Brooklyn Nets are like the second favorite to win the East. The Brooklyn Nets season could end tonight, but that's what the NBA has been like really all year long, and that's why I am looking at prop swap, and that's where you need to be as teams make their final pushes here in the play-in games and certainly to start the playoffs this weekend. Remember, prop swap is the only place in Indiana where you can buy and sell sports props, and with truly wide open races in the West and East, it's anyone's guess who will get hot and make a playoff run. You can find some very intriguing odds right now on either conference by buying a specific prop on prop swap, or you could put your ticket up for sale if you don't feel good about your ticket anymore. That's the beauty about prop swap. You can buy or sell your props at any point during a season or even during a game. So if you're looking for better odds, what your sportsbook is offering, look no further. Prop swap is your answer. It's a way to win bigger at sports betting, and there's never been a better time to join. You can use promo code FREE100 to receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So to find the best odds, join the real sports bettors and download the free Prop Swap app today.
Add a little flavor to your next business meeting with Nameless Catering's variety of menu options, all at an affordable price point. From pasta or barbecue buffets to the light and fresh menu, Nameless Catering is ready to own a slot on your meeting agenda and refuel your team for the day's work. Visit namelesscatering.com for more information or shoot us a text directly from the website. www.namelesscatering.com.
Longer days, warmer weather. This is the time of year you need to be enjoying life without joint pain. I'm Kevin Bowen, and it is time to call QC Kinetics. They're helping out people here and all over America get real, lasting pain relief. They use highly concentrated, cutting-edge natural biologic treatments that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue, getting to the root of the pain. It's life-changing, and you can get back to moving like you used to with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. If you have nagging pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, and you're done with steroids and pain meds, then call QC Kinetics. And if they're telling you surgery is your next option, don't do it. You call QC Kinetics, you get a free consultation, free second opinion, and you can learn more about these natural biologic treatments. Enjoy this time of year doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160 in Eagle Creek and Greenwood.
Jake Query here. You know, recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Greg Cosell, what are your thoughts on Matt Ryan?
Well, Matt Ryan's a hard guy not to like. He's been a really good quarterback in this league. He's essentially a pocket player. Really smart before the snap of the ball. Understands defenses. Is not fooled very often. He's just a really good quarterback, and we'd be talking about him as a Hall of Famer if he won that Super Bowl. So Matt Ryan's a really, really good player.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
I am not totally confident in this chair.
I thought you were going to say the pop quiz. I'm like, wow, that's really changed the tune from 5 minutes ago.
I'm just telling you that if this thing...
You go standing up. I think the millennials are really big on the stand-up desk now.
I'm still tired.
How many wheels is on that thing? Safely secured, I mean.
Let's see. It's supposed
to... 5 of 6.
I bet two are at least questionable.
I mean, I was going to say, to be
two
fair...
need Tommy John surgery, I think.
To be fair to Jake, you never know when...
Now, there's another chair over here that looks to have all the wheels, but yet does that not have all the wheels on the right and then the upholstery on it's coming off?
There's no arms on it. It's got upholstery coming out. Yeah, it's...
We'll see how many wheels can stay on this pop quiz here coming up, Jake. All NBA, really, to begin, and then a baseball, and then, of course, in Scotty fashion, a hockey one. I'm shocked Stan Mikita is not one of the choices for the hockey question. Jake, a number, Golden Glove 4-pack, by the way, to whoever.
Well, 4-pack, let's go with number 4. Right?
Eddie.
Eddie!
Hey, what's going on with MS Communications? You can't get you guys some decent chairs. JMV and Dan says the same thing.
Yeah, Eddie, I think they're trying to work on our health and trying to get us to stand up a little bit more, trying to get us to work out here. So I think it's a message being sent from the upper.
Eddie, you sound like a nice guy. Have you called the program before?
Definitely, yes.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Are you driving right now? We want you to be careful.
Yes, I'm on speakerphone. No, I'm good.
Okay. Eddie, where are you? Where about in the city?
Heading towards Castleton to do some loss prevention.
Oh, you know what? Oh, like you're going to go there and prevent people from shoplifting?
Ideally, that's what I should be doing during the day, yes.
Okay, and are you on Allisonville Road right now?
146th Street.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Going to stop by to see my parents.
Eddie, did you call in because you heard it was easy?
Yes, that was part of it, yes.
Can your new nickname be Easy Eddie? Is that cool?
That sounds good.
Okay. You make everything easy but shoplifting, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Here we go. Question number 1. You can steal this one right away. Joel Embiid is the NBA scoring champion for the season. He was Joel Embiid, if I'm not mistaken, a native of Cameroon. Who was the last non-U.S. born player to win an NBA scoring championship? Please wait for all possible options before wagering your guess. A. Dirk Nowitzki. B. Akeem the Dream Olajuwon. C. Andrei Kirilenko. Or D. Joel Embiid is actually the first non-U.S. born player to win an NBA scoring championship.
D. Joel Embiid.
Okay.
Nice. All right. Who owns the most NBA scoring titles among active players? James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry?
Eddie, did you like that?
Pacers fans are cheering against this guy tonight.
Kevin Durant.
Okay. Question number 3. For the first time in NBA history, the players who finished 1 and 2 in free throw percentage this season are teammates. They play for what team? A, the Golden State Warriors. B, the Atlanta Hawks. C, the Brooklyn Nets. Or D, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Atlanta Hawks.
Okay, number 4. On this day in 1909, the first ballpark in Major League Baseball to be made of concrete and steel opened.
Oh, okay.
Name this first modern ballpark. Was it Shibe Park, Forbes Field, Navin Field, or the Polo Grounds?
B there. Answer B.
Okay, Forbes Field is the guess there.
Okay.
Boy, that's a relevant question, right?
All right, Easy Eddie on the last one here.
You think Andrew Luck would get that concrete question?
Well, you know.
Eddie, in Chicago, my parents' favorite restaurant when they lived there was a restaurant called the Black Hawk, just so you know. On this day in 1938, this NHL team became the first and so far only team to win the Stanley Cup despite having a losing record during the regular season. Was it the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, the Montreal Maroons, or the Chicago Blackhawks?
Canadians.
All right. As Jake just broke the headset, is that in reaction to Eddie's answer, or is that did the chair contribute
There's enough
to that?
broken things in the studio. We don't need any more headsets.
Does Eddie not? I love Eddie, but context clues. Context clues. Eddie, my parents' favorite restaurant in Chicago, by the way, happened to be the Black Hawk.
Eddie's
Your multiple choice options are the Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Maroons, or Chicago Blackhawks. Well, I'll go with the Canadiens.
Eddie, you got bigger things to worry about, man. You're trying to stop shoplifting.
You guys lift your chair. I'm thinking about getting you guys a chair. That's the only thing on my mind.
Just don't steal
I want to get a GoFundMe started to get you guys a chair.
You got a hell of a heart, Eddie.
I
Go
like
more
that.
often.
Eddie's all about the greater good.
Yes, Golden Gloves tickets coming Eddie's way, so stay on the line there. All right, number one, the last non-U.S. born player to win the NBA scoring title.
Joel Embiid is actually the first.
Is Karolinko really up there 1 year? 1 year. Really? Who owns the most NBA scoring titles among active players? Would you have gotten this, Jake?
Yeah, I probably would have gotten this. Kevin Durant is correct.
That is correct.
10, 11, 12, and 14.
Now, I don't really understand where you thought this quiz was so easy.
It just is.
It was the 1909 steel and concrete ballpark question. That was the easy one.
And, who's going to know this one?
Oh, I think you should know this. Because when you think of who would be a great free throw shooter in the NBA, who's the first player you think of?
I don't know. Trae Young.
You don't think of Steph Curry?
I guess.
Okay. The Golden State Warriors was the correct answer. Jordan Poole at 92.5%. Your free throw leader for the year. Steph Curry second at 92.3.
You blew it!
Didn't Steve Kerr win that
You
award?
don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
You really wimped out, man.
Shibe Park was the answer for question number 4, and number 5 was the Chicago Blackhawks.
That was a violent toss of the headset there.
I mean, now I'm not going to say what celebrity it was, but my parents were at the Blackhawk restaurant in 1965. My dad ordered a baked potato.
Oh, love
and
baked potatoes.
They came back and said, "I'm sorry, sir. Our last baked potato went to that table over there." And my dad said, "Well, they sat down after we did." And my dad looked, and it was a noted celebrity of the era. And many years later, we were watching the news, and on the news, they said, "Breaking news tonight. Actor so-and-so has passed away." To which my dad, with zero hesitation, said out loud, "I hope it was the baked potato that killed that SOB."
Wow.
Man,
we've covered all of our bases this morning.
My dad held on to that for 40 years over that baked potato.
Gosh, he definitely did not forget that. All right, we come back one final time here. Kevin and Corey talk more about tonight's matchup between the Nets and the Cavs. Kevin and Corey, 935-1075, The Fan.
Realizing Geico's great service and licensed agents are available at your fingertips is like realizing the plastic piece that comes with your pizza isn't a tiny doll table. It's to keep the box from touching the pizza.
Hey, the pizza's stuck to the box. Where's that little plastic thing?
Dolly needed it for her tea party.
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or how your smartphone charges faster when you put it on airplane mode.
Wow, what if I put it on rocket mode?
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico's industry-leading app lets you pay your bill, file a claim, manage your policy, or summon help when you need it. Or how those holes in your shower caddy are there so you can store your shampoo bottles upside down.
Showers happen fast when you're not waiting on shampoo.
Great service. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Cleaning your fuel system can make your car run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner and add it to your tank during your next fill-up. On sale now, buy one, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop by and talk to our professional parts people today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
BetMGM welcomes you with a special offer on the NHL, an official sports betting partner of BetMGM. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team scores a goal in the game, you'll win $200 in free bets. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200. That's all one word, capital T, capital F. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. So download the app or go to BetMGM.com. And again, use that bonus code THEFAN200 to win $200 in free bets if a goal is scored in the game you wager on. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Are you looking to stay cool this summer and have fun with your family and friends? Call Royal Pin Entertainment at 465-8484 to join a summer league today. Summer leagues are fun and affordable and last only a short time. If you're going to bowl this summer, bowl at a Royal Pin Entertainment Center. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com to join a league today. Grab your friends and stop in your favorite Royal Pin Entertainment Center for open play. Reserve your lanes by the hour at royalpin.com. Come bowling this summer and have the time of your life. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
Right now, get up to 60% off store-wide. Styles start at just $8, including tops for maid and jeans from just $14. Hurry to Old Navy and OldNavy.com for up to 60% off store-wide now. Valid 4/5 through 4/17. Select styles only.
Braves, Padres, Sunday Night Baseball. The coverage begins at 6 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Regulators, mount up.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
In the summer of 1994, I was an intern at MTV Networks in New York City. I began my internship with MTV Sports, which was hosted by Dan Cortez. It was an extreme sports kind of reality show. And I didn't really like it, and so I went in and asked if I could go to a different area, and they put me on a show called 120 Minutes, which I loved, and I loved doing it.
Oh boy, 60 minutes times 2.
That's right.
I can hear the time ticking.
The last 2 weeks that I was in my internship, I spent at the MTV Beach House, which was like the production house where all the summer programming was recorded. And that song Regulator by Nate Dogg and Warren G was one of the 6 music videos that was in rotation that summer. I heard it constantly. Sabotage by Beastie Boys.
So is that nails on a chalkboard? You heard it that much?
No, it's actually pretty good memories. Good question. But
That's an awesome internship.
It was pretty awesome.
How? Where were you in school?
This was the summer after my what should have been my junior year. I went for spring break. I had a friend, my buddy Jason Gross had a cousin that lived in New York City, and I always wanted to go to New York City, and so we went to New York for spring break, and this is back when you had paper resumes. I took a stack of resumes, and I walked into every radio and TV station in the greater metropolitan area of New York City asking for an internship for the summer. And
good for you.
Jeanette Primus was her name, was the intern coordinator at MTV in Viacom Industries, and said, these internships were filled up like months ago. But because you had the initiative to come out here with your resume, if you are willing to live in New York, you can intern here. And my grandparents, God rest their souls, and my parents came up with the money for me to live at NYU and spend a semester living in New York City interning at MTV. And it was fabulous.
Terrific support.
Did you get to hang out with Daisy Fuentes?
I saw Daisy Fuentes topless one morning.
Woo! Jeez. Boy, this show is really...
At the MTV Beach
a
House.
lot of things.
Not intentionally. At the MTV Beach House, Daisy Fuentes, who would not know or remember me at all, and was wonderful. Of the on-air people, because she was one of the on-air people, she was probably the nicest. I mean, she was as nice as could be. But in the beach house where we stayed was basically the equivalent today of an Airbnb. And so I went to to shower in the morning, and she was coming out of like one of the other showers. It was just a house they had rented. But she is either, I can't recall, is she Spanish or...
Was this the final day of your internship? Is this where this is going?
No. But she came out with a towel around her waist out of the shower area with a towel around her waist like a guy would. I mean, it was a 2-second, but it was like, oh my gosh, that was Daisy Fuentes. But she was as nice as could be. Actually, you knew who else was...
She's Cuban, by the way.
Cuban, okay. You knew who else was unbelievably friendly to everyone. And I had very limited interaction with...
Carson Daly?
At that time, no, that's a good guess. At that time, Cindy Crawford was on House of Style, which was on the top floor of the MTV building. And in the few times that I was around her when she was in there, she could not have been more kind and down to earth to everyone. And that was at the apex of Cindy Crawford's fame. It was a great internship, no doubt about it. Probably the most fun thing I did in my internship was one day I got in there and they said, today you need to go to the Marriott, I think I told this story before, and pick up someone that's coming into the building. And the Marriott is next door. Well, I know, but they've got to pick them up in a limo. So I pick up this person, and we got in a limo, and they went one building in the limo, and we got out of the limo and went into Viacom. But I was just like the concierge for the day for O'Shea Jackson. And I'm like, O'Shea Jackson. Now, this was before O'Shea Jackson was known that it was the real name of Ice Cube. And I'll still remember Ice Cube in the limo, which was a one-building ride. He said to me, because when I met him in the lobby of the building where I was picking him up, I said I was an intern, I was from Indiana.
A lot of icebreakers in that car ride.
Yeah, the icebreaker was this. He looked at me and said, Indiana, the Hoosiers, Bobby Knight be hooping. I'll never forget that. It's exactly what he said.
That's great.
He was cool. And then he signed a poster for me that I still have. To Jake, stay cool, Ice Cube. Chris Wright, by the way, who I love, says, Jake, your dad is the man. I agree, Chris.
Yeah, that's
Chris Wright is the man, actually.
Tremendous support. I've always been a big Chris Wright fan.
Never
met him.
Great guy.
I was listening. I feel like going to elementary school, back in the day, I heard him a lot on the radio stations my mom would listen to in the morning, giving updates, and then obviously saw him on TV a whole lot. And I find this fascinating, Jake. The Miami Heat are the number 1 seed in the East.
They are so well coached, by the way.
Yeah, certainly. The odds for them to win it all, where do you think they rank in the Eastern Conference?
Fourth.
Say third.
Yeah, that's... Milwaukee would be ahead of them, right, Mark?
Milwaukee, the favorite.
I'll say the Celtics
in the East.
Ahead of them, too.
Ooh, I forgot about Boston. Philadelphia's got to be up there.
I saw Philadelphia was like 5th or 6th.
So the Heat and the Sixers are tied for the 4th best odds in the East. When do you think the last time the number 1 overall seed in the NBA playoffs for a conference has been 4th in the odds?
You know, some of those years, 4th, yeah.
I mean, there's only 8 teams that are going to make the playoffs.
Ahead of them would
now,
be
how about this?
Milwaukee, Boston, and who?
Milwaukee, Boston, and the second favorite in the Eastern Conference is a team that is in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, Brooklyn, right?
The Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I mean, if they put it together,
But it is crazy, Jake. Their season could end, I think I said tonight. That's wrong. They could end on Friday.
Yeah.
If they lose 2 in a row, they're out. And, think about it. They're going to be the road team in every single series that they play. It's not like Brooklyn, even with Durant and Irving, have been this dominant team by any means. I find that just astonishing that their odds are that high. Third overall. If you want to go East and West, to go Suns, Bucks, Nets.
So the Suns are the favorite, obviously, in the West. Who's the second best odds in the West?
Warriors just a hair ahead of the Grizzlies.
Who, the Grizz, man?
Grizzlies are the 2 seed.
I know.
It's just crazy to me the Nets are in the play-in game. I mean, I get it. They've got unique talents, certainly. They've got a couple guys that have been there on this stage. But when's the last time a 7 seeds made the NBA Finals? Or should I say ever?
You know what's interesting? I think I told you this.
Was it 8 seed? Was it Denver, Seattle?
Well, Denver defeated Seattle as an 8 seed.
That was it.
In 94. That 94 team, I think I told you the other day, somebody sent me a 1994 Sports Locker episode with Mark Patrick and Vince Welch, and they were talking about the Pacers. It was from April 10th. And they were talking about the Pacers, like, yeah, the Pacers holding on to that 8 seed, and that was the team that went within a game to the NBA Finals.
So the last
you can put it together late and get going, right?
The last time the phrase Bobby Knight be hoopin' was uttered.
The Hoosiers. Bobby Knight be hoopin'.
That is the last time we just don't see it, Jake. We don't see in the NBA, 6, 7, 8 seeds get on big runs. And I obviously understand Brooklyn has Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But
how about the Timberwolves? Minnesota Timberwolves are in the play-in game. They're 10 games over. Right?
They're 10 games over 500?
Well, we're going to get into that debate with people. They're technically 5 games over 500. Right?
Scotty's right on the board. 98-99 Knicks. That is the 8th seed. That's the last 8th seed to make it to the finals.
I forgot about that. That was the team that only one. That was the
only one.
LJ 3-point play, right?
Yep. 4-point play.
4-point play, yeah.
I remember a handful of years ago when the Pacers took the Raptors to 7 as the 7 seed.
Yeah, Solomon Hill played well in that series, man. It was up a lot of money.
Was incredible that whole series. They won game 5 maybe in Toronto, or George had a huge game. I remember at that point, Jake, I don't think you had a 7 seed that had won, that had gotten to a game 7.
Right.
It's just unheard of really in the NBA. So we'll see if Brooklyn does that. Again, tonight, the Cavs and the Nets at 7 o'clock. If the Cavs win, and that would be an upset, they're hovering around kind of 8 or 9 point underdog. That means the Pacers would find an additional first-round pick. TNT.
Be locked in, baby. Locked in.
Tomorrow we'll get more of the Pacers exit interviews. Talk a little IU as well. They've had some news. Trace Jackson-Davis, Xavier Johnson, where they're at in the transfer portal. We'll talk that as well. If you missed it, thank you to Joe Reitz. Thank you to Gary Brackett. Those conversations will be up on the podcast. I think for many reasons you'll enjoy both of those chats. So thank you to Joe and thank you to Gary for their time today. It is a gorgeous Tuesday. Hopefully you can get outside, enjoy it. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Kevin and Corey at 93.5, 107.5.